Good evening and welcome to a special episode of Have Your Say 247. My name is Cheryl and I'm coming to you live from Little England. Decided to come online tonight because the the massacre that happened in Benue, I've tried to shake it off. I've tried to get it off my mind, but I was at work today and I just couldn't, do much because that just kept um, playing on my mind. As I've seen some of the images, I've intentionally avoided any videos. I cannot stomach to watch any of the videos. Even some of the images I've seen, they're very troubling. As a human being, first of all, then as a father of children, I've seen images of children unalived, burnt into unrecognizable ashes. And, that just kept playing on my mind at work. And just about 12 hours ago, actually, this is 10 p.m. in the UK. So maybe about 14 hours ago, I just decided to say, you know what, later this evening, once I get home and settle in, I would come online and chip in and, give my 2 cents on this Benue massacre. So over the next 2 to 3 hours maximum, we're going to be having a conversation regarding the incident, the fallout, what's happened, how do we progress from this? How do we move on? The people of Benue, especially, what can they do? There must be a way out of all of this. This cannot continue to happen. It's not an isolated incident. It's not the first time it's happened to the people of Benue. And unfortunately, I don't think it will be the last time it would happen to them. So these are the sort of things that I would like us to discuss, just to exchange ideas, as we'll say, to rub mind. Once again, welcome to this special episode of Have Your Say 247. Today is the 16th of June, 2025. Right. So let's start from somewhere. And to the panelists who would be joining me, just give me a moment, give me about 10, 15 minutes of a rant, of a monologue, and I would send out the link and you'll be able to join me in another 15 minutes. But please stay with me. I just want to get, my piece out and you can then take the conversation forward. I would like to start by joining many Nigerians and many people across the world that have sent their condolences. We do this too often, unfortunately, but I would like to, send my condolences to the people of Benue State, and to say, for those who've lost their lives, whose lives have been cut short unjustly, to rest in peace. May their souls find eternal rest. And for those who might want to come at some point to join this stream, and those who will watch it later, I'm not in a very good mood. A bit under the weather anyway. So it's a combination of all things. If your intention is to come and start defending the president, please, it's a good time to log off. Go watch a movie, go for a walk, do something else. Because this is not somewhere where you would come and defend the president. There are certain words I will have used, but I don't want to be, vulgar or encourage profanity. So please, it's not a time to come and express yeah. So maybe if you know it's going to upset you, like I've said, in a respectful way, just log off, go do something else, and let us discuss the way we feel like we should discuss tonight. Because even the president himself has, he said he's happy to be called names and all of that. While I'm not encouraging name calling, but he said, people can call him names and all of that. If it's libel, then he can take it up with them in the court of law. So I'll try and make a start. While I was just preparing for this, a few things came to mind, and Benue State in particular, you want to ask why Benue? It's not the first time it's happened. The Agatu massacre comes to mind. That was one in 2016, around February, March. Some estimated over 500 people were killed in that period, or sorry, unalived in that period. 2016, around February, March. Then they had another incident in Agatu again, the same Benue State. I think that must have been 2021 or thereabout. So many people's, lives cut short as well. And if you look at Benue, it's a very strategic state for Nigeria. It's often referred to as the food basket of Nigeria. The way you have Oyo State as the pace setters and Lagos Center of Excellence, Ogun State, the gateway state, and things like that. Benue is referred to as the food basket of Nigeria. So, would anybody watch their food basket get decimated the way Benue has been decimated by these terrorists? Benue is blessed. They have favorable weather, fertile soil, they've got abundant water resources. They provide us as a country with most of our favorite food. They produce in large quantity yam, rice, cassava, corn, and all these things. Even livestock they do produce. So you can classify Benue as an agricultural gold mine. But this same gold mine, this same food basket is being attacked relentlessly by criminals, terrorists that should never see the light of day again. Why? And I think about this in a way that our food inflation is dropping, but with such attacks on our food basket, the food inflation would go up. There are no two ways about it. You can't pray it away. You can't wish it away. So you would think this is something that, as a country, that the leadership of the country would take serious, and they would, deploy all the resources they can to secure Benue. And I'm not saying they shouldn't secure other places, but you hear about all these checkpoints in the east and all these other things everywhere. You should focus more on such places and make sure the place is secure. That the terrorists would think twice. I've not even had a report that one of these terrorists who were attacked on Friday night lost their lives. It's possible, but I've not had any report that at least one was caught or taken down. The next time they want to go there, they should be having a second thought. But based on their last outing, why wouldn't they go back? Apparently, they went there around 10 p.m., 11 p.m., and they operated for like 4 or 5 hours. And they were successful, unfortunately. And many people lost their lives. We've been let down by our government over and over again. And this is not just a Tinubu thing. It started a while ago, but Tinubu has carried on. And like he rightly, promised us during the campaign that it will continue from where Buhari stopped. And oftentimes we don't take this guy serious. Buhari came and during his campaign, he said from top to bottom, and he took us from top to bottom. And Tinubu said he will carry on. And it looks like he's actually carried on the legacy of Buhari in many instances. There's a lot our government can do to help Benue and Nigerians at large, or by extension. The insecurity needs to be tackled. That goes without saying. But even without insecurity, you think of Benue State, very similar to Ogun State in terms of road network. If you have a food basket, you want to make sure that the road network is great so that they can get the produce to the market. Oftentimes, you see report that, how farmers would, when they are lucky to harvest, most of these things will go to waste because they can't even get it to town. So, road network, storage facilities, irrigation systems, access to affordable loans. You hear about some of the loan rates, the interest rate in Nigeria, and you just shudder like, how can you borrow money at that rate and make any profit? So these are some of the things they need to do. But today we'll be focusing on the insecurity aspect because that's the one that is trending right now. I've talked about the Agatu incident, 2016, 2021, 2022. And I only found out recently that even Benue has anti-grazing law. They passed an anti-open grazing law in 2017. And you start to wonder if they've passed an anti-open grazing law in 2017, why do we have things like this? Let me see. I think I have a video somewhere that I'm going to share in a second. This was in Benue.
Sister Luka Kaos in Makodi. Sister Luka Kaos in Makodi. Nonsense. Sister Luka Kaos in Makodi. Benue State government is escorting the Makodi capital, Sister Lu.
Oh my God! Can you imagine this? So,
Right. So that was Makodi. I'm not sure how recent that was. I don't think it was after this incident, but that's still a recent video. That's the capital city of Benue State. And I remember a conversation I had on this channel about 18 months ago, and I was speaking against this open grazing. I remember it was the early months of the President Tinubu regime, and I was saying, Wiki needs to do something. I think we're talking about Abuja as a city at the time on that particular day, and I said, Wiki needs to do something. He needs to stop this cows just roaming the street of Abuja, because there were some videos that circulated around that time. And I remember a particular guy, I think he was born in the US. He speaks with a very strong, proper American accent. And he came on here and he was telling me, Nigerian, American, he was telling me I have Fulani phobia or something stupid like that. And he was trying to tell me that I'm focusing on the little things. That how does that matter? How is that a problem for Nigeria? And I told him, I said, this is the problem a lot of us have. We ignore the little things, but we let them fester and they become a bigger issue. I'm not saying let's not tackle the bigger issue, but while a lot of people are tackling the bigger issues, let some of us focus on the small ones so that they don't become bigger issues that will require everyone's effort in the future. And he said, what's wrong with the cows? The Fulanis have always had this lifestyle. This is 2024. I was telling him at the time, they can't be taking cows all over the streets. And I asked him, I said, does this happen where you live in the US? And he gave me some of the dumbest response. And he said, well, some wildlife will come to his back garden or something at night. I said, who led them there? That's just nature. That's wildlife. You guys have encroached their area. You've gone to build houses close to them, and they've just come to visit you and they go back. One or two dares will come and they'll go back. But I'm talking about people taking hundreds of cows to walk the street in the US. And sheepishly he kept quiet and left like an idiot that he is. Like I said, I'm not in a very good mood. So, some of these things I would say tonight that I would usually not say. The images I saw today, very disturbing. So whoever is offended, like I said again, please log out and go home. No apologies at all. When I was preparing for this, the president had not said he was going to go to Benue. In the last few hours, Bayo Nonoga has tweeted that the president will be canceling some of his schedule, and he'll be visiting Benue on Wednesday. So I was going to have a different approach to this, but since they said the president is going to visit on Wednesday, it's not bad. It's a welcome development, a bit late, but he's still going to visit. But at the time I was prepping this, it's obvious, and we all know that the Pope in Rome spoke about this incident before the president of Nigeria spoke about it. How despicable is that? Not one person, not two people, not five. Not that one life is meaningless. One is even too much, but we're talking over 200 people of your children got taken out by terrorists. And the Pope in Rome, who you went to visit to felicitate with when it was being inaugurated, he spoke about it on Sunday before the Angelus, before you did. Because Bayo Nonoga tweeted about this around 9 p.m. Nigerian time on Sunday. The Pope spoke about it about 12 hours earlier. How is that possible? This happened on Friday night. Even if you don't have all the details, you could have tweeted something and said, you commiserate with the people as the father of the nation. Strong words. This will not be tolerated. We will fish out these people. We will deal with them drastically. It will never happen again, not under my watch, and things like that. And say, while we wait for more information, this is what, just to reassure the people we're with you, and I'll be planning a visit. Instant. But nothing like that. But if Peter Obi was to sneeze, or Atiku was to drink water and didn't drop the cup, Bayo Nonoga will have rushed to Twitter to tweet. It's shameful the way these guys carry on. You almost wonder, why do they hate the people they claim to serve? Because this is hatred. There's no other way you can paint it. And it doesn't matter who is doing it. If Peter Obi was doing it, I would say exactly the same. I don't care. Why would VDM go to Benue before you did? Now, today, a few hours ago, I saw a video that the CDS, Musa, Chief of Defense Staff, and the Inspector General of Police, Egbetokun, they went there with the governor. They went to that particular town to commiserate with the people and reassure them and all of that. But this happened on Friday. That's the question I'm asking. It happened on Friday. Why are you going on Monday afternoon, Monday evening? And the president is going almost a week after the incident. Who does that? And you have people defending it already. I've seen people defend it to say that's not the way it works. The president is not jobless. He can't just drop everything and go. 200 of his own children and grandchildren taken out in the most brutal way. When they catch some of these people, the Boko Haram ones, we've seen many times that they say they reintegrate them. It's one of the most unfortunate things to happen to Nigeria as a country. How do you reintegrate killers, murderers, people who have tasted blood? Even when animals do such, they put them down. Animals that are not meant to bite people, to eat, to bite people, unalive people. When animals, when their instincts kick in, like domesticated animals, dogs, for instance, when they do such, when they, attack babies or attack adults, they put them down. It's a deterrent. But you see many times they now do ashwebi for them. They put money in their pocket and they say they've reintegrated them. Repentant Boko Haram, God forbid. Repentant killers. And some of them even make it into our military. So our military has been infiltrated by these people. The chief of army staff apparently relocated to Benue State early June, around the 2nd or 3rd of June, just to stem the tide, because they had an attack a few weeks ago before this one. So the chief of army staff relocated, but that didn't seem to have worked. There's reports from certain quarters that he was there for a few days. He didn't even see some of the people he was meant to see. People are saying all sort of things that I cannot verify, but he hasn't helped, clearly. So the president was silent. The vice president, his own people in the Northeast were getting upset yesterday. I think it was yesterday I saw the video trending, because some people decided that yesterday was a good day to endorse Tinubu for 2027 in the Northeast of Nigeria, where the vice president is from. But because when they were endorsing Tinubu in that whatever shenanigans they were doing, they did not include Shetima as a joint ticket. They just endorsed Tinubu. And of course, I don't even want to discuss how they are right or wrong. But Shetima's people got upset that how can you endorse Tinubu and not include our son as his VP? Are you trying to say that he's going to pick a different VP for 2027? That's what bothered them. Where is Shetima in all of this? Because Shetima did promise us that he was going to tackle insecurity and he was going to lead the troops. Do you remember that video where he dressed like somebody who they just picked from God knows where, the oversized coat and oversized tie and everything? I have it somewhere.
My principal is an economic wizard who transformed Lagos into the 3rd largest economy in Africa. He will concentrate on the economy. By God's grace, I will handle the security arm. Not only handle the security arm, I will lead the troops to battle across the length and breadth.
So that was Shetima promising Nigerians that he would lead the troops to battle across the length and breadth of Nigeria. Where is he today? Their primary focus is 2027. All they care about is politics and not governance. We win. We defeated you. This is not a football game. It's not Champions League. It's not your NBA playoffs. It's not the Super Bowl. This one cost lives, as we've seen recently. And when they talk about aligning to the center, you've seen a few governors defect and they say they're aligning to the center. So they leave PDP, they leave whatever other party they belong to, and they join APC and they say we want to align with the center. The last time I checked, Benue State governor is of the APC extraction. So being in the center, is this what it gets you? This level of support or the lack of it, is that what it gets you? Or maybe if he wasn't aligned with the center already, maybe they will have declared the state of emergency, because we all remember that state of emergency was declared in River State, where not a single life was lost. It was a pipeline that got, that was bombed, and the thing was back in operation 24 hours later. But there was state of emergency declared. So you wonder why there's no state of emergency declared in Benue. Probably because the Rivers guy is of PDP or was of PDP, because he's crawling into APC as we speak. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why they're all aligning to the center. which translates to, please just let me have my second shot and do the next 4 years as a governor. It's not about the people. It's never been about the people. So this, their stupid alignment with the center, you can clearly see it's got nothing to do with the people, because Benue is APC. You will have thought they would get a lot more support, swift support. If it was PDP state, we'll probably say they don't care. They want to make the governor look bad. This pastor, reverend, whatever he is, reverend father, is one of them. And he's been talking a lot of bull crap, he himself. Maybe he should go back to the church and leave governance alone. Talking of church, some of you might come and correct me. I'm not saying I've checked everywhere, but I've checked the usual places I would check. I've not seen anything from your favorite daddies, Adeboye, Oyedepo, of Winners, Adeboye of Redeem, Kumi of Deeper Life, Daniel Ulukoya of MFM. I've not seen them say anything. I checked their Twitter. Twitter is the only social media I use. I don't use Facebook and Instagram and all of that. So I checked, and I've not seen anything from them. They were tweeting about Father's Day yesterday, some of them. I saw Bola Tinubu, and I intentionally went there, and I wasn't disappointed. He's a smart guy. It's good PR. So he spoke about it this morning. He tweeted about the incident, and he condemned it in strong terms because it's good PR for him. And I saw a few interesting comments. Some people said he's the most equipped pastor to deal with the Benue incident. With tongue in cheek, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you get it tomorrow. They said Bola Tinubu might be the most equipped pastor in Nigeria to help them in Benue. So, 22 minutes, okay. I'll let the audience come in and join and have their say. I have a lot to say about this, but I just don't want to bore you with my monologue. I will let you join and have your say on this. Um, in Iran and Israel, in this, they're firing rockets and missiles and all these supersonic, hypersonic, fantastic weapon of mass destruction to each other, at each other. I checked, and it's about 240 people, which is a lot. I'm not taking anything away from those people that have lost their lives. May their souls find eternal rest as well. But it took about 3-4 nights with those things you saw flying like it was Christmas night, like fireworks. 240 people in over 3 nights with two strong superpower nations going at each other. And the whole world was talking about it. In Nigeria, one night, some crude, barbaric, God-forsaken terrorists attacked Benue, and they did that in one night. And they're going to come back. And most likely they'll be successful. It's appalling. It's appalling. Tony, I see you backstage. I'll bring you on and we can have a conversation. Ngosika, thank you for joining. I just had to get out of my system, but good to have you both. Ngosika, I have no questions for anyone. I'll just let you have, depending on how many people we have, I'll let you have time. Just discuss it. What's your take? Any solutions? What can we do? Root cause, history, how we started. If anybody knows anything that would enlighten our people, because my goal on this channel is not to be here forever. I don't want to talk for 10 hours. Nobody in Nigeria is going to watch it. I won't watch it in the UK. It doesn't matter if it's Peter Obi and Awolowo and Azikwe and whoever is talking. 10 hours, I say it, I skip, even with free internet or cheap internet. So my goal is to have a short video that people who need to hear this, the people in Nigeria, can afford to watch what we're discussing. So we'll try to keep it short. But Ngosika, you have the floor.
Good evening, Mr. Shaw. Good evening, Mr. Tony. It's so nice to see you. My condolences to the families of those that lost their lives in the Benue attacks. It's heart-wrenching. I've not been able to bring myself to look at any of the pictures. If I'm scrolling on X and I see it, I just swipe fast. And even in those seconds that you see it by mistake. It never leaves your head. The child human remains and whatnot. It's a gory sight, and I just whatever they believed in, in the afterlife, I hope they have it easier there. Because Nigeria was not fair to them. Nigeria was not good to them, even in death. I just hope wherever they are now, they're in a much better place. And having said that, I can't have fire in my own house and be screaming that fire is burning my neighbor's house. A couple of days ago, a community in Enugu State was attacked by the same marauding herders, and they left their usual souvenir, which is pile of dead bodies, human beings butchered like meat. And I searched online to see if I could see news on that of the Enugu attacks. And the news was very scanty. And the reason is simple. For a while now, people have accused the state government, Enugu state governments, of being complicit in trying to suppress um, the kind of news that comes out of Enugu, especially the ones that do not make them look good. And as the day go by, you can see without being told that it looks like that's what is happening. Because tell me why it took 3 days, I think, for me to hear that there's been another attack in Ihamufu. Almost 3 days, and not one person was killed, not two people. Several people were macheted to death in their farms. I, for the sake of fact, I will stick to what we know. Like Kulata will usually say, let's stick to what we know. What we know is that the many attempts at baptizing these people, giving them different names just to downplay who they are and what they are doing, it's not working. These are not bandits. These are not kidnappers. These are killer headsmen, and their end game is quite simple, even to the most unassuming person. For you to come to somebody's home unprovoked and kill them and scare whoever tries to come in there away, it only points to one thing: you want to take the person's home. That's what it looks like. They want to take these people's home because it's a very fertile land. Benue is the food basket of the nation. They want to take these people's home away from them, and
Okay, it looks like MTN said Ngozi had enough. Oga Tony, good evening.
Sure. Good evening.
Oh, Ngozi, we didn't hear
And
you for the last 15
okay,
seconds.
Ngozika looks like she's back.
Yeah, we didn't hear you
Is
for the
oh,
she?
last 15 seconds. Yeah, she's back. Yeah.
Okay,
I
please go
don't
ahead.
know. I don't know what part you heard last. Sorry,
No,
my
you were just talking
internet.
about how it's about, displacement and taking their homes. Yeah.
Yes, and it would seem that they are not beating the allegations. That is just what I'm trying to say. Every time people have accused them trying to of having the intent of taking people's home, and they're not beating the allegations. You come into a person's land, you chase them away, you kill them, you burn their houses, you assault their women, you do all these kind of things, and those people flee their ancestral homes and you take over these ancestral homes. I have a friend, I would say an acquaintance, not really a friend, from Jos. He's from Jos. And I remember some time ago we were talking and he was saying something about the neighboring community to his, they had been attacked by these people. And I asked him, what is it about these people that you people cannot, I mean, come together, find a way, even if it is to be taking them out one by one?
Okay, internet strikes again. Okay, Oga Tony.
Oh, okay. Greetings once again. Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
This is not greetings, my friend Revolution, and greetings, Ngozi Ka, and all those who are listening at the platform on the platform. You know, this is not a very good time for some of us, because for someone like me who has gone through and experienced massacres and you know, when I see what's happening in Benue, my heart bleeds, and not just because of the recurring incidents of killings in Benue, in Plateau, and some other parts of the country, but more too because it's like we are almost getting used to it. The Constitution, I think Section 14, subsection 2B, guarantees that one of the responsibilities of government is to protect lives and property of its citizens. Now we have a situation where it does appear from the pronouncements of some of our leaders that they are surrendering the responsibility of performing that responsibility to the people themselves, just as they have done for roads, for water, for light. You know, even within our communities, you provide your own security and so on and so forth. And so I'm wondering, the government is trying to redefine the whole concept of nationhood, where people come together and they decide in a democratic process to entrust, to give power to representatives to rule for them on behalf of everyone, for the good of everyone in the nation. So for me, I don't think that there's anything different from describing Nigeria today as just a state of nature, because there's hardly anything that you can see working. There's impunity, there's injustice, there's corruption, there's profligacy, there's encroachment on the right of people to freely express themselves. Even the representatives themselves, when they go there, we've seen one or two people who are cowed because they say things that certain people don't want to hear. But back to, let me quickly just take, because you talked about, you mentioned the church and some pastors. I have been one who has always been defending pastors, defending the church, not pastors. But I want to say here, I just want to single out a pastor who recently was shown in a video, who went to go and see the president and came back initially to say that he was not going to discuss whatever he told the president. And yet went against that, came to his church and started sharing part of what he told the president. One of the things I heard him say, and I had posted somewhere that I'm not sure that he said it, that it would be AI. He was saying first, advising the president how it was God that elected him. And I took umbrage at that because God didn't elect him. God doesn't vote. God didn't elect him. Even the same person didn't say God elected him. He said you have to smash it and run with it. He was very clear. And that has been his policy. So, but that offended me seriously. And I had to go back to look at this pastor again, because I remember that many years ago, he did say, talking about a former head of state, president of this country, that he was speaking on the pulpit. And so for me, maybe it was a prophecy, or he claimed to be speaking from God, that president will be hacked to death like Agag. That president is still alive, still strong. They can't pray, nothing has happened to him. And I pray nothing happened to him. So if that was a prophecy, and I know my God doesn't lie, that pastor is speaking from the pits of hell. He had also gone ahead to make disparaging remarks, again on the altar, about an ethnic group, the Igbos. He didn't take back his words. He had also gone to say that after Buhari, that God told him that he would succeed him. And then he went and ran. He had run previously as a vice presidential candidate. Now he went again to pick up the presidential ticket. He ran for the primary, spent a lot of money, which I think would possibly, if it was invested in the lives of people in his church or somewhere else who have a need, it would have, for me, it would have done much better. But he lost that. That money was spent, and I conceded him the right to run as a Nigerian. But he came back. I don't know. I think it was 1 or 2 votes that he got.
He didn't get any. Zero.
Oh, very good. So again, that cast aspersion to, for me, the kind of respect that I used to accord to him as quote unquote a man of God. Buhari has, ended his tenure and gone, and he's not the one there, so he lied, and we haven't had any apologies from him with respect to that. And now to come and to say that this president, that God put him there, that's a big lie. That's a big lie. And I think that if you were to institute an honors award, and to place people who we think would win gold for lying, I think he will win the gold medal. I think he will get some honors for lying. And I think these are the things we must begin to call these people out, because they give the church a bad name. We must call him out for who he is, for all these lies that he's been peddling. And if he wants to become like them and be a politician, he should leave the pulpit and go and join them in the pulpit and stop messing up, the church. But let me go to Benue. This thing that has been happening didn't start now. It's been there. Oton cried about it. People are being massacred and killed, and we sweep it under the carpet, and we give it all kinds of names and coloration, and refuse to call it what it is. There is nothing else than a state of war that is being declared on these people. To kill 200 people at a go, not even in the current war, between Russia and Ukraine. Have you seen a situation where 200 people are wiped out in just one day? Or even what is happening currently between Israel and Iran? Has this happened? I think it's sad, and we have not had visitation from the person who is supposed to be our president. It's been happening, and he's not taken seriously. I think this is a shame. And then we have had, past leaders, we have had generals who say, listen, we have to adopt the Azare method. Another one says, listen, they are colluding. Mention specifically an agency of government, that these people are colluding and that people should hand themselves. And we saw a DSS chief also say, listen, you can't continue to lead yourself. You have to defend yourself. So and then we see another army chief saying that we have to take the spiritual option. So it means that the state is clear that the state has surrendered itself. It has surrendered. It has washed off its hands in terms of defending the people. So what do we do? Because that is the critical issue now. You can't continue. I did say, sometime in this in this platform, that it's only a tree that they will tell that they want to kill you and you to stand there. The people can no longer wait and see themselves being killed. This is war, and we must, until they begin to retaliate. I remember so many years ago in Kano, when you had the killing of Southerners in Kano. That was many years ago. I think it was Sani Abacha that's head of state. And then it turned to Muslim, Christian, North, South. And then, the Southerners took up arms. Because initially it was starting like it was an Igbo thing. But of course, they couldn't distinguish between who is an Igbo. They don't usually distinguish between, if you're not Hausa, if you're not from the North, then you're Igbo. And so when that started happening, everybody, those who were not Hausas, Northerners, took up arms. And there was a fight. And it was coming close to the airport, Kano Airport. The Southerners were very, very, they took up arms and they began to fight, and the government had to intervene because that was going in their own turf, and that was going to cause a serious problem in Kano at that time. So I think that what has been happening is because people have been turning the other cheek. Their cheeks are red. Their cheeks are red now.
You round up in a minute, please.
And I think that we must now move away. There has to be a new strategy. And that strategy should be an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. I stop there.
Okay. Thank you very much. The reason why I let you go on for a minute is because I wanted to share. I was trying to add the video, but for some reason it's proven difficult. I wanted to share this, but let me see if I can share it through my WhatsApp without showing what I shouldn't show. Okay, I should be able to do that. I've not done this in a while now. Present. Okay.
If you have never heard it before, I'm saying it to you this morning. In the scheme of things, as far as politics of Nigeria is concerned, President Muhammadu Buhari is number 15, and yours sincerely, I'm number 16.
Okay, I think that's the video you were talking about where it was fooling around. Anyway, thank you, Revolution, for joining. It's been a minute. Ogadan, good to see you. As always, you've come to shake the table. The Benue killing. I know what you're going to say, but it would be good for people who are not familiar with you to hear what you have to say. You've got the floor.
Yeah, sure, man. Otojo Mary.
You just come with brother me.
Yeah, greetings to everybody in the house. Respect to you. It's been a while. I've been watching anyway. I wasn't out of touch. I've been watching, but I just thought I should just listen and talk less these days. But first of all, I want to start this Benue killing. Let me start with that video clip you showed us. You see, all this man of God, woman of God, God called me that the GOs. First of all, for me, they are all criminals. People who couldn't do well with their profession. Many of them are well educated. They couldn't compete, and they know how Nigerians are. Anywhere belle face, God go do am. Only God will save us. They take that one, they chop our money because they know that that's the only place they can get money easily through hypnotism. When they tell you, say God go do am, shout a big hallelujah. Hey, they collect money from you. That's what we are Nigerians are today, to be honest with you. Many Nigerians where you go me now, they go see problem where they go take physical solve. They go say God will solve it for them. So this Benue killing is what we have been talking about. It's one of the reasons why I changed my name, my name to Revolution. I know many people have asked me several times, what kind of revolution are you talking about? And we've told them, if you don't like the one that they will kill you fast or you will kill somebody fast, there's another one. They say sit at home. Civil disobedience. It happened in many countries. There's a time in a woman's life or in the life of a country when everybody in that country knows that nothing is working. Even the so-called Emilokon, who put himself there by snatching it, doing what they did, he told us that that the pain he will give to Nigeria before his magic will work will be like childbirth. He forgot that there are a lot of women who die in childbirth. He forgot that some women who they cannot bear the child, but they have to do cesarean operation for them to ease the pain. He forgot those things. You understand? But you know that Nigerians are vulnerable. You can tell them anything. They interpret it different ways. What is happening in Benue I've been shocked. In fact, that's why I even joined. I was very, what they call that English again? Relaxed listening to you guys all this while. But this Benue issue has been bothering me. Every day you go hear one. So the last game they played, they say they have relocated the Hola Morris and the commander-in-chief of the armies, all of them, they have moved them to Benue. And just recently, after moving, look at what has just happened. So sure, you know me, I'm not a man who likes many words because me, I like action.
Yes.
But Nigerians refuse to take action. They say, oh boy, you don't run away. You think, say, you go fit come. If they tell us to come now, we go see, say, people like us, we come. Because where I am now, what am I doing? Working 2-4-7, killing myself. When winter come, cold, even the summer where we dey now, said they no born you well to wear summer clothes, go outside. Cold go still catch you. While I have a country where the vitamin D, which I need, is there through the sun. I'm here. So this Benue killing, there's no other way to solve that thing. Nigerians must, if they slap you, slap back. Because bullies, if they give you slap, you turn the other cheek, the next thing where you go receive na head boot. And when you give you head boot, you refuse to react, they go clear you. You go there for flat on the ground. So if we think that this government in power today will ever in this history of Nigeria do anything to save Nigeria, Nalayo, Showore have said it all. Let me just conclude about those people who no like Showore. Somebody in this platform has asked us what is Showore's agenda. I can still end with that. Showore's agenda is for the poor, social life, so that he go reach everybody. And we don't know, say, the only way to solve Nigeria problem, especially in Benue State, and not only in Benue State, even in the, I had it happen in Anambra State in the East recently. So you see, it's widespread. We have to fight back. Thank you, show, man.
All right. Thank you very much. Revolution. Always good to hear from you. A man of action, similar to Dimeje himself. You know, a man of war, not a man of peace. KJ, I say you good to have you on the show. Chris, good evening, sir, and welcome to the broadcast. The Benue massacre, it's a sad one. It's one that keeps occurring. Like I said, I don't have a particular question that I'm going to ask anyone. I'm just going to, give you the microphone and let you speak on the issue. Let's keep it to Benue. Of course, we can refer to other things and bring other things here and there, but it's mainly the Benue people that we want to speak up for, because I feel like as a channel, we owe it to them to have like a broadcast dedicated to this, attack. I'm not sure if you heard what the president recommended. Of course, he said enough is enough and all of that, but he said the governor should go and facilitate the reconciliation between people you don't know that come and attack you in the middle of the night and the people that are being attacked, that the governor should facilitate a reconciliation. The floor is yours.
Good evening. Don't know if you're hearing me.
Clearly.
Okay. My principal in the secondary school, he comes in, it's time he comes to teach us. He starts with what he called Westside wisdom. So this is my Westside wisdom. Anybody who doesn't know where the rain starts beating him will not know where it will end. Okay. So I have been a regular listener to this platform, even though I don't come often. Yesterday I had interaction with the agent. My issues with this platform is like, is it a platform for knowledge, or for information, right information? Or is it the right form to provide solutions to the challenges facing Nigeria? I speak from a country called United Kingdom. Somebody could come up and say he's from United Kingdom. That person could also say he's a British. He could also say he's an English. And he won't be wrong. Right? Now, he's talking about England as a country. He's also talking Britain as a country. And he's talking as United Kingdom as a country. Now, the reason I'm saying this is simple. I want to ask a rhetorical question. Most people that are killed in Benue today are thieves, TV, right? Assuming that you have TV in Benue, in Nasarawa, in Plateau and Taraba, into a state, a big state, they will form a very big state. And then they will answer TV state. If somebody have Fulanis as they were, they are the ones that are doing the killing. And they form a state somewhere in Sokoto. Would you think that they will leave their state, go from Fulani state to TV state and kill them? Sometimes people want an easy things, but easy things don't get far. We live in Western world where they built it. They didn't build it they built it based on war, sweat, blood. I want everybody here to go and read something they call Westphalian Conference. Search it, Westphalian Conference, 1945, Westphalian Conference. It's where the Europeans, after fighting, they call it how many years of war? Is it 30 years of war? They come together and realize senses. They come to their senses and said every ethnic nationality must be a nation of its own, must be allowed to be a nation of its own. In this platform, I hear people say, I'm a detribalized person. I'm not ethnic. Let's remove ethnicity. Let's remove this. Let's remove that. Now, the value of ethnicity defined by ethnicity is history, language, culture, and that includes also religion and culture. Now, if you remove this thing, then you are not a human being. So I want us to always try to read things or understand things we read better and just talking about the symptoms. The symptoms is like when we say marginalization or these killings happening. These are symptoms of a big problem, systemic problem. So if you want to know actually what is happening in Benue, the foundation was laid in 1914. In 1914, it was laid there. And it is beyond Tinubu or any government, any president. President has been coming and they have been trying to manage and manage and manage. But you see, the more you patch something, the more you create avenue for it to leak. I don't know how much time you have, and I don't want to take too much of your time.
No, I'll give you a minute just to to tie it together so that I can
So
go to
I want you to also to read an article written by the late Professor George Obiozo. He said my anger is something. He said my anger about this one Nigerian nonsense, something like that. Now, with the benefit of hindsight, we also had what Saduana of Sokoto, let Amadu Bello said. You know, people don't underestimate the power of ethnicity. People underestimate the power of ethnicity in our daily life. So the more we try to understand it and talk about it, that's where our problem, that's where we start solving, that's where we will start getting to resolve our problems.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris. I think everyone understands clearly the perspective you've brought into this, where you stand, what you would like to see as at least a solution. You know, without saying it, you've said it, and I think it's clear to everyone who has understanding. But thank you for that. Oga KJ, good to have you on the show. You are very close to the Benue people. You lived among them. You and Jonaba would joke about the yam harvest and all of that. But it's looking like there will be no yam to harvest anytime soon.
Can you hear me? Sorry, my audio seems to be messing up. Okay. You know? Can you hear me?
Yes, KJ, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. Sure, thank you so much. You are the only one who can drag me into a show as this one, the day of the week, which is birthday. And thank you, every one person who is here. Ngo Bebe. You know, I used to have a classmate whose name is Ngo Bebe. I used to call her Ngo Bebe. She's not a pastor. We're still friends. Anyway, you see, sure, Nigeria is the only one place where you can make an egg without breaking, make an omelette without breaking an egg. It's only in Nigeria. I have not seen any other nation or somebody anywhere else trying to do such a thing. Because we tell ourselves the lie. We live the lie. We embark on lies. We cover the truth. Everybody joins to tell the same lie that we all now have called to be truth. And then we want to get the best result out of that lie. Nothing can come out of that. Nothing. It's not going to work. Okay? It's not going to work. We all decided, we folded our hands, sat back. Somebody who don't know his parentage, we don't know his nationality, we don't know his brothers and sisters, we don't have any history of him. He's running the show. And we think we're going to get good results? No, we can't. We can't. And you see, just like Chris said, this foundation have been faulty right from, not today. They all saw it. They made that proclamation. They said they are going to dip the Quran in the Atlantic Ocean. We took it for a joke. And now we are crying and running helter-skelter. And nobody seems to know what to do. It's so pitiful. You quoted Professor Obi, what's his name now? Obi, the former Ohaneze chairman, Professor Obiozo. Obiozo became the Ohaneze chairman. No, it wasn't not the same person who wrote that article that couldn't even put his mouth straight to say what the Igbos want. Not the same Obiozo. He began to talk from all sides of his mouth just because he wants. Look, of all the Igbo elders that have gone, was it not only what's his name, Ezife, that was able to put his demand across that being, So how many of them? Now the same thing is happening in Benue. I've said this time without number. The first time we discussed Benue here, some of our colleagues were attacking me that I was being, it was Otom who was organizing his people and bringing people to, all right? They said it was Otom, and everything Otom was saying was a lie. Otom is the only first governor in Nigeria who Fulani chased and were shooting after him. And the federal government till today didn't do anything. And the people came out after about a week or so and said, yes, we are the one. And there will not be peace in Benue until they change that anti-grazing law. Gentlemen, what I'm talking about here? We're wrestling with the people who are more stronger than the whole nation put together. Remember that the federal government is the only authority that has the right to bear arms. So if those who have the right to perpetuate violence can no longer even contain it, and they're saying we should go to our spiritual leaders, well, I think just like the English would say, for the want of a shoes, the war is lost. Yeah, that's what we are. And you see, it's not going to change. That is why you see the governor can't even pronounce Fulani. He can't. He didn't put it there. Neither did the president put it there. The president couldn't say it. They are all afraid of the war. But if it's Igbo, they will all bring their six-pack and come to the arena to fight. A reverend father could not pronounce that the people who are attacking his people are Fulani herdsmen, even though we have countless evidence and people who were part of the incidents saying that these people are complete Fulanis. I understand thief. I have some thief videos. I could have sent it to you now, but they're all in thief. One of the survivors, she gave a vivid description of how they were using people to practice shush kaba. Okay? And the governor is aware. But for want of political position, they will sell the birthright of their people. Is it different from what's going on in Nigeria? I mean, in the East? No. We've seen it. Now, Suswan is there. Suswan suffered the same fate. Well, not as much as what's his name now? Otom suffered. So now, before now, they say it was because Suswan, Otom was using it to destabilize the state because it's not among the ruling class. Now, the state is in the ruling class level, yet they're having more of this evil agenda than any other set of people will have it. Now, sorry, I don't know how much time I have, but I have a lot to say.
Yeah, finish in like a minute or two. We'll take a minute break, then we'll come back for the...
All right. Now, listen, the thief people themselves, I want to put it on record, are not afraid to go to war. Remember, they use trick. On this channel, I was just talking about it. And some of my friends who were in that government, I told them, there was a young man called Ghana. You see, what they do is they look around your community and they look for the person who can decide to carry the fire on his head. And that person is accused and brought out and decimated. Ghana was accused. Ghana repented. Ghana was on his way to come and meet the governor, who was then doing amnesty. The army rounded him up somewhere along the road and said in a shootout. Meanwhile, there was no shootout. So that if such people were still around, you think this will be going on? Now the governor disarmed these people. Everybody did amnesty. Excuse me. And then after doing amnesty, you send in people with AK-47. And now they're doing damage. And like I said yesterday, those places that they are now preventing the farmers from going to farm, those are the places that farm all the food that we eat. Okum local government, Bajimba, okay? That Kadroko, Yelwata, those places. If you go there, they have huge yam farm markets. You can buy a whole, in fact, trailers come there to buy. Now they go there, they destroy these people's farms, they destroy the people, they destroy even the crop that have been harvested, they cut them into pieces. Are you saying that this is normal? And then let's go back to what the president said. And I want to just dwell on that and say, he said,
okay,
go back.
So maybe hold that thought. Let's take a break, like 2 minutes break. And when we come back, you start off with the president's statement.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Play. such as
Right, welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining us again. We're here discussing the fallout of the unfortunate Benue massacre. And with me on the panel, I've got Tony, KJ, Chris, and Revolution, formerly known as Dan. Right, so I've got Ngozeka in the background as well. Ngozeka, wink if you want me to bring you on stage. Just wink if you want to join us on the platform, or you're just enjoying being backstage. I'm sure you can bring yourself up if you want to. Anyway, so KJ, just before you go ahead, I'm going to share something quickly because you're talking about what the president said, which is most unfortunate. I think it would have been better if he kept quiet. And when people were calling for him to speak, I'm like, leave this man alone. It would upset you more when he speaks. And he managed to do so. But let me share what okay, my topic will finish me for this channel. See, there's a see when you are from Remo in Ogun State, not just anywhere in Ogun State, or Remo in particular, we are cousins with the Jebu people. We are close people. When you are from that zone and you meet another Remo person, there's a way you just misbehave. Topic is just $50, $50, $50, $50, $50. Shoma, no way at all. Thank you very much, Tope. God bless you. Thank you for the support and big congratulations. You know what I mean. Big congratulations. So back to this matter now, if I can concentrate, because we are similar to the Igbo people when it comes to money. We just let me share what private citizen Tinubu said in 2014 to the then president, Goodluck Jonathan. So off the back of that, KJ, you continue and wrap up in about 5 minutes so I can pass the mic. So President Tinubu, series of his tweets, I don't know what happened around the 14th of April 2014, but he said on the matters of security, the buck stops at the president's table. Like in other countries, Jonathan is the chief security officer. Stop Boko Haram. He continued in another tweet. He said, Nigeria's security outlook is depressing. The unending attacks suggest a failure of intelligence. Government must rethink its strategy now. Another tweet, same day, just as Jonathan laps up praises, he must bear responsibility and accept blame over Boko Haram's deadly attacks. So this is why I said at the beginning that nobody should come and say, oh, the president this, the governor, they give security votes. We're not interested. You can just take Jonathan's name out and put president. So this is a letter from Tinubu to future President Tinubu. Carry on, KJ.
Thank you so much, Sho. The president, in his address, said he has directed the chief security to implement earlier directives. In other words, there was an earlier directive which he issued that was not followed. I am now asking them to go back to that earlier directive you gave them. You also asked the chief of army staff told you guys he's relocating to Benue. I want to bring you up to speed on that. When he got to Benue after meeting with the governor, the chiefs were waiting for him. The Totiv, who is more blunt than all the rest of the chiefs in Benue, the Ochidoma, and all the other first-class chiefs were all gathered and were waiting for their chief of staff to brief him on one-on-one where the problems are, the localities where those things are happening. He ignored them. He didn't go to where they were waiting for him. He left. And since he left, nobody have seen him again in Benue. So the actual relocation, which we were told, didn't really happen. It happened only on paper. Just like it happened even during the day of Buhari, when Buhari said the army chief were going to relocate to the south, to the northeast. They didn't go anywhere. All of them were in Abuja, eating and drinking and having fat stomach. That is what is happening. These people know what they are doing. If you take the advice that the army, the guy who was one of the army, non-commissioned officers were talking about the order 3 days ago, you find out that we are helpless. That's the truth. So if anything going to change, it will be from the people. It will be within the people. Not that anything is going to happen. Let me tell you something. No matter whether we like it or not, there's some people who will benefit from making sure that these places are destabilized. If Benue falls, and I'm saying this to Igbo people who probably think it's better, or rather, I don't think any Igbo person would think it's better though, because this is also happening in Enugu State right now. So I would say, let us put together our axis, because once Benue falls to the hands of the marauders, what they are doing now is ethnic cleansing. It's not longer any other thing, because they are taking over those lands. There's a video also training which I have of a reverend father who had gone, there's a community in around the same area. He had gone there. When he was trying to go there, they told him nobody's in that community any longer. But he insisted on going because that's his community. And when he got there, the whole place was empty. There were just houses, nobody. They've all run away and left the places, and you can only see cows in a distance. That is what is happening. They are taking over these places and they're giving them new names. And if you are a good student of history, you know that this is not the first time this is happening in Nigeria. If you go to Kavanchan, I don't want to go into that, but there's a story there that we covered through Emmanuel Kure. I'm calling them because these are things that you can be verifiable. When we went to do the story of the killing in Benue, and we talked about it here, Jonaba was the one who told me that those things I'm saying, it was David Mark and all of them who orchestrated it. Where is the same, those villages now, nobody lives there any longer. Nobody lives in those communities. It has been taken over, and these people have taken over and given it a new name. If it's not ethnic cleansing, please tell me what else it is. What else will it be? If we don't take time, we all end up being slaves in our own country, and that we will not live to see. We will fight it to the end. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Oga KJ. Appreciate that so much. Ngozika, as a Catholic yourself, this current governor is a Catholic. Some of the things he said, like, KJ alluded to, let me see if I can read some of them. I don't want to share the screen, but I'll read some of the things he said, or maybe I should just paraphrase. He was alluding to say that, he was alluding to the fact that some of these criminals are not Nigerians, because they share a border with Cameroon. Benue State share border with Cameroon, with Nasarawa and Taraba, something like that. So he was saying that the language they spoke is not even the Fulfude that they are familiar with. That's not Hausa, that, they come from Cameroon. So he was almost excusing it away, So what hope do we have when we can't even have a reverend father who would speak the truth? Because I've listened to some of the victims, the survivors of this attack, and they are saying that these are Fulani headsmen or Fulani terrorists, maybe not the headsmen or whatever. The people who suffer this calamity are saying they're Fulani, but their governor is saying, oh, they don't speak in the Fulani that we know. They're not speaking Hausa that we're familiar with. They come from Cameroon and they run back and all of that. So, is this enough to say, your reverend father should stay at the church and be conducting Angelus and leave us alone to the criminals we're familiar with. I think Ngozuka, we're at the same time zone. No, you're not behind. The people in America might not hear me because they are still in 2 o'clock. But you and I, we're
Can you hear me?
now we can, yes.
I didn't get the last part of the question because my internet went off. Please, can
No,
you
no,
repeat?
I was just saying that, I mean, one would think a reverend father would would do the right thing, speak the truth, no matter what, it means. But he was almost saying, they're not Fulanis that we're familiar with. Let me read it in his voice, in his own words. Let me see if I can find it. Reverend Aliyah. He said it's a carnage. He said it's disturbing. We are observe the what we are observing is a pattern. It's simple but disturbing situation. A thief does not break into the community unless someone from the within shows him the way. He lamented, the persistent bloodshed, da, 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 da. When we came into government in 2023, 17 local governments were under attack. Now it's 9 and 6. He said they no longer bring cattle. They are not regular herders. What we now see are armed men carrying AK-47s and AK-49s. They come to attack, to fight, and soon after, others moving to occupy the land. Benue shares borders with Cameroon, Taraba, and Nasarawa. Some of these attacks are said to originate from the Cameroon axis. The attackers do not speak the Hausa or Fulani we know. Their language is unfamiliar. That's what Reverend Aliyah said.
So I'll start by saying that
And,
can I go?
yeah, go on. I know the text, I know what
So
happened.
I will start by saying that at the end of the day, man of God, God of man, he's still human and he's not infallible. And the average Nigerian politician, I don't want to use the word average, but right now I can't think of
The internet is doing Ngozeka a disservice tonight. Oh. It's really bad, very
shucks.
choppy. It's breaking up really bad.
Yeah. So, like, there's a question you asked. I want to answer. I can't remember it now.
The question
I
that I asked,
Yes.
think I'm back
what to
now.
Ngozika?
Okay.
I think I'm back now.
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
go on.
Let me be today is just terrible. I said that he's human, he's not infallible, and two, he's a Nigerian politician. Take away the priestly clothes and everything. He's your typical Nigerian politician. Thirdly, he's an APC politician. The fourth part is that he is an APC Tinubu faction politician. So you have to be able to put these things in perspective. There is APC mentality, there is APC Tinubu mentality. They are not the same kind of mentality. Because Mr. Sho, you're very active on X. You see that sometimes they clash and they fight each other. So this is to say that I'm not surprised by what he's trying to say. All he's thinking about is securing his second term. That's all he's thinking about, 2027. And he knows if he says anything that he feels the people at Abuja would not like, he might as well kiss 2027 goodbye, which is really sad because you expect a man of God to have some humanity. But like I said, he's an APC politician, and I want to round it off by saying that in 2022 or 2023, this man, something Olakunle, he was a rear admiral in the Nigerian Navy. I don't know how many of you remember his explosive interview that went really viral.
Yep.
Yes, you remember his some of the things
Yeah.
he said. I listed some of the things he said out, and I want to comment on just one of them to round up the question Mr. Shu asked me. He said, the Department of State Security Services has extensive information on terrorists and sponsors, but is limited by the political will of the commander in chief. When he granted this interview, he said a lot of things. This was just one of the things he said I wanted to um, highlight. When he said this, Tinubu was not president. So before people will say, "Oh, he's saying he's against," people like to play beer parlor politics with this kind of things. Before they will say, "Oh, you don't like Tinubu, that's why you're saying he said this." This man said this when Buhari was still president. Because I remember that interview. It was on Channels TV. He said this when Buhari was still president. And he even went on to say how he was part of an elite covert operation that unmasked some of these sponsors, and how the federal government, the security agencies refused to take it up because some of the people they uncovered their names were part of the government. So this just tells me one thing: their hand they inside, from the top to the bottom. So it is not going to stop. I think having made peace with the fact that it is not going to stop, the only other way around this is, so what does the common man do? And I'm thinking to myself, I am from Enugu State and I live in Enugu State. I'm thinking to myself, if I'm in my father's house in the middle of the night and these people storm my village and they are shooting into the air, dragging people out of their houses, macheting them, burning down their homes, raping women, what will I do? And the answer humbled me. Nothing. We like to say, oh, they should defend themselves, they should regroup, they should defend it. You can't do anything. You can't do anything because the people you're fighting against are not by themselves.
Okay.
The only way I could have done something would have been to do something before they got there, before they came attacking.
Okay.
And that is what I'm trying to that is what I'm trying to wrap my head around. If the government won't come to your aid, initially I was saying the story about my friend from Birom, whom I asked, if these people keep attacking you people, why won't you do anything? This was before I had these thoughts because something happened. I won't go into details. Something happened very close to my place that made me think this way. And he said that every time they regroup, every time they come together as a community and buy guns, manage to get guns or equip their vigilante to defend the communities, and these people attacked them and the community fights them off. He said almost every time this happened, the next day, the security agencies will storm these communities, arrest all the able-bodied young men, and seize every single weapon they find and confiscate them.
Okay. Thank you, Ngozika. I've had people say similar, especially people from Benue. They've said, they've tried to defend themselves, and the government will come and collect all their, ammunition and whatever they used to
And
defend
lock them
themselves.
up.
Yeah.
So
KG, I'll
can
give
I
you a
just
minute
can
because
I just
just one
can I
minute
just
quickly.
add
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little
1
bit
minute.
of what she said?
1
You
minute,
see,
please.
I want to describe. I won't even take up the 1 minute. I want to describe for you Yelwa. Where Yelwa is close to the school I went to. 31 Airborne Brigade is now 72 Special Force Battalion Brigade School. I mean barracks. It is less than 5 kilometers to the barracks. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. That
Mhm.
barracks is backing Yewa. So if you jump over the fence of that barrack, you get into the community of this Yewa. So then this operation went on for more than 4 hours, and nobody had a gunshot in that military barrack. Is that what you're saying? Because the military barrack is big. It's one of the biggest military. Benue has 2 military barracks. Nigeria School of Military Engineering, and then this jumpers club, the people special squad. And you're telling me that no special squad soldier man had one shot from a neighboring community, which is a village. Is that possible?
Okay.
I leave that to you people. Thank you.
Thank you. I know that's a rhetorical question. But Tony, I'll come to you and I'll go around just now. Can I hold on? Let me just go around. I know that you've come with a different answer to what Ngozika just gave. I know you're a man of action, and we'll get to that. And it's the beauty of the show that people have, divergent views on how to tackle this because we're not talking suggesting solutions. They might listen to us, they might not. But Tony, the question I want to ask you is not even about solution. I just want you to juxtapose what's happened in Benue State, which I touched on in my monologue when I started, and look at what happened in River State. There was a state of emergency declared in River State, like that. But this is Benue, where you would think state of emergency would have made sense. What do you think is going on with that?
Well, first of all, I agree with you that if you were to make a comparison, I think the Benue situation over the years, I would say, I can say that it has reached that threshold where you can declare a state of emergency, because where the governor of the state is incapable of providing security for its people, I think, and from what we see, president is aware. He doesn't. It is wrong for the president to say, "Go and settle." Go. This is give the impression that this is a communal thing. It's not a communal thing, as far as we know from the videos that we have seen. There may be some elements of it, but this is real flow. For me, this is war. This is war. So perhaps in my thinking, the best solution would have been the president, who is the commander in chief and has all the means of coercion, instruments of coercion. What he should do, given that all the most of the security agencies, heads of security agencies are giving the impression that this is something that they until recently when the army chief is saying, I'll be able to deal with the situation. But the impression we've had from all of them, whether it's DSS, whether it's retired general, whether it's some army chiefs who are saying spiritual option. I think that it has reached the threshold where a state of emergency should be declared, and the governor should actually go on vacation, just like Fubara, has done. But that's it. I was looking at the estimate from National Bureau of Statistics,
right,
dealing with the number of people that have been killed in Benue with respect to this crisis. I think it's over 3,000. And that's just life. One life is important. I mean, look at what's happening here in America, where, two people, a man, a spouse, they were killed, and then another one injured. And, the governor is out, and, all the institutions of state, agencies, security agencies are out there, trying to fish out. They are at work, trying to find out who did this, where, and I'm sure that it's going to be apprehended. We may not be as developed as America. We may not have that kind of intel. But you see, the way that this whole Benue thing, and indeed, things, security issues all over the country, is being looked at and is being pursued, it just seems as if we're just not serious. Life doesn't mean anything for in Nigeria, and that's sad. I think right now, this is very, very clear, because we have situations where people have been apprehended, people who have committed offenses like this have been apprehended and taken to the police, and then the next day you see them, they are released. And then people come here and say, oh, they are foreigners. How can you release a foreigner who is coming to your country to do this havoc, and then you release them? How can you have Mayatiala defending them if they are foreigners? How can you have, some of our leaders coming out to defend them, if they're foreigners? Where are they coming from? How can foreigners come to your country and they have arms, and the people who are indigenous of the country cannot have arms? These are issues that we have to address. So let nobody come here and be telling us bullshit. It's arrant nonsense. We know what is happening, and we have to deal with it. If the government can deal with it, let the people deal with it. The same way they are getting arms, let the people go and get their arms, and let's see whether there will not be a solution.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I'm going to pass this on quickly. Revolution, just before I come to you, there's a comment that I'm going to read. Normally I wouldn't read it, but I just want to expose this for what it is, because it's been said many times that you defend APC to a point that, not to a point. If you start defending APC, naturally you start sounding slow, and that's me being magnanimous. I don't want to use certain words because this comment says, show the governor can call for a state of emergency, not the president. In the event the governor cannot, the president will. Please stop this your propaganda. I mean, I don't have to dwell on it. Anybody,
which force would the governor use to call the
no.
emergency?
I
Which
mean,
force?
no.
Does he have any force?
No, wait.
Is anybody under his command?
Wait now. Let's even say the governor has constitutional right.
Come here and talk nonsense.
Don't get offended. The governor has the constitutional right to call for state of emergency, which Fubara also had. He didn't exercise it, but the president wasn't. He didn't need a day to exercise his power. So what we're saying is, why hasn't he done the same? And it's been called propaganda immediately. How is anything that we've said here propaganda? That the president who did the same in Rivers could have done the same in Benue, who are experiencing a worse time than whatever happened in Rivers. But if you start defending APC, it's a matter of time before you start sounding slow. Revolution. Now, in Nigeria, people are allowed to carry shotguns if they are licensed, not pistol, like we saw with certain someone. So when we talk about how the people of Benue can defend themselves, I mean, if you were to advise the people of Benue in the interim before the revolution you're looking for, before it happens, what would you suggest to them? How would you say they should go about defending themselves?
Thank you again, Show, for the opportunity. And respect to all I can see some old friends, respect to everybody. I don't think I can mention all the names, but Ajuba or Mojuba. Anyway, let me answer your question, Show. My question still goes around on the same topic that I put on as my name, revolution. Benue State has been under attack. Not today. Every day, people will come up and speak. I remember when Autumn was there, he spoke a lot. He formed a kind of a military, something like that, gave them uniform, gave them car. We thought everything will end. Now he's out of the show. Another brother coming there. Still the same thing. Now we are now talking about does the governor have the right for this or for that? We know a country, we know Nigeria. A country led, when they used to make one proverb, they say, a country led of the blind. A man with one eye automatically will be the king because he can at least see with one eye. Nigeria is a country led by blind people. They cannot even see nothing. They are totally blind. And then we are there talking about who is going to make a decision and who is not going to make a decision. My advice to the Benue people is to revolt, or else they will keep killing them. By revolting, I mean, there's a song they used to sing, we no go gree, yo, we no go gree. They come out and they will sing that song, everybody will agree. If not, Mr. Show and my fellow panelists, this thing will continue because you cannot carry arms in Nigeria, like you say, except you have license. How many people in that country can afford a license to carry gun? Even ordinary pen knife, say police catch you, they go call you armed robber. Or say you carry knife, police say, what you carry there? Well, oh, knife, oh, hold on, hey, thief. In many cases, they will just take you there, say you be armed robber. So me, I don't have advice for them. The only advice I have for them, when they are tired of this killing, they know what to do. They will revolt. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Chris, I'll come to you. You've provided your solution in your first...
Please, I will come back later. Let me just give a break. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Chris, you provide your solution. You are right now, right after Chris. I've written the order in which people came in, so I won't forget anyone. You are right after Chris. Okay. So Chris, I know you gave your solution in your first submission, but I just wanted to ask you now, the DSS Director General a while ago, a few months ago, said we cannot be everywhere. He said it in clear terms, expressly. Don't expect us to be everywhere. It's impossible. And this is something that a lot of people have said, that we're under policed, under the army ratio to citizens is very low. So the man said it, DSS Director General, to say you have to be the first line of defense. If the head of DSS is saying that to us, so are we culpable for not doing enough to defend ourselves? Because if Oga is saying, defend yourself before we come, start it. Is there more that we can do as citizens? And I'm not blaming the people of Benue. God forbid that I do that right now. But I'm just saying, is there more we can do as citizens?
Yes. You see, let me tell our sister that says she lives in Enugu what she need to do. She need to support ESN. Okay? If she's hearing me, she need to support ESN. That's the only savior for her and for people living around Enugu. But anyway, that's West Side wisdom. Now, let me answer your question. You know, when I started by saying these things, you know, people say, they don't know why foreigners will come and kill people in Nigeria. And I say, do they understand what is called science of taxonomy, classification? This is very important, classification. They don't understand the implication. Look, this Fulani man in Niger, in Cameroon, and far away Guinea-Bissau or whatever. If you use statistical estimators to analyze them, you will find more correlationship between them and the Fulanis in Nigeria than you will find the correlationship between the Fulani man in Nigeria and the TV man. Does it make sense what I'm trying to say? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So the only way the people of TV land, because I hate to call Benue, because there's nowhere in human taxonomy they use rivers or cardinal points or land to classify people. They classify them using ethnicity. Okay, they classify them using ethnicity. And if you go away from your ethnicity, you are no longer a human being. Okay? So if the TVs in wherever they are congregated around the Benue, Nasarawa, Taraba, they should come together as one people. Let them not see this as a state or Benue as a state. Let them see it as an invasion or ethnic conquest from Fulani on them. Now, if they see it that way, they will be able to understand what to do, either to agree or to surrender or to fight back.
Right.
Now, somebody mentioned the and what is it called? Revolution. Revolution can never happen in Nigeria. Go and mark this word. It can never happen to this in Nigeria. Okay. I don't have enough time to explain this, but this is very important. And then again,
next time you can always, tell
yes, I will come back and explain this. But again, let me say this: the barracks and the KJ talked about, when near the town, the officers there are mostly populated by the people killing the TV people, right? So why would they give command to the rank and file, which are mostly TV people? Which are mostly people? Eh?
Do you know that for a fact?
Well, go and check the officer cadet.
I'm not doubting you. I'm just asking that is it just a comment?
You see, there's no need for me to try to, go and start telling you the list of the officers, right? But I'm just saying, now the commanders, right? I'm not saying the particular commander, right? But I'm just saying those commanders in the top ranking echelon are populated by the this ethnic group, while the rank and file are populated by the TV people. You understand what I'm trying to say now? That the top people cannot give order to go and fight their siblings.
Right. Okay. Thank you for your submission, Chris. It's always a pleasure to have you around. Jagun, good evening. Good to see you. I won't ask you any question. Guessing you've followed, some of the conversation, and you've seen the unfortunate incident that's happened in Benue.
Well, actually, what it was that kind of brings me on. I heard your beginning, your 4, and it did inform what I'm about to say.
Right. Okay.
I also heard Chris speaking earlier.
Sure. I came before Jagun. I don't know what is going on here.
And let me just finish here, John. I already began.
Oh,
sorry.
Sorry. Don't worry, Jagun, you're going to speak. So I wrote the names, and the other people came in, and I missed your name completely. It's not even on my list.
Oh, yeah. And I knew I was supposed to. I was here when I joined when Chris was still talking the first time, and Chris came back again the second time.
I'm sorry. Let Jagun just finish. Let Jagun speak, then you go after him. I beg your pardon.
He's a big bros. Go ahead.
Thank you. Again, I heard what Chris had to say, and I was again informed, and I felt that he had some valid points in terms of the platform. What are we doing? This is quite a serious thing. How can we really show support? How can we show solutions? And these are serious things, and these are things that encourage me or bring me on board in the very first place concerning the channel. Because I do believe there is power here. There's power in intelligence. When I look at the Nigerian state, after all these years, 2 things are at the fore of my mind as to the critique I have. Apart from me not really believing that we have a country or a democracy, I believe our state called Nigeria is run by stupid people. And unfortunately, this may come across harshly. Stupid people are being run by them. Now, I don't mean to be insultive or this kind of thing, but I remember many years ago when I was in Nigeria, in my village, and I saw the village is peaceful, man. Village life is beautiful, and we're feeling all this kind of nostalgia. And then at the same time, this is before all this particular violence took place. At that time, we were talking about Lawrence Anini running the road. So you know how long ago that was. So I thought to myself, we have these big conurbations right next to us in our village. Is it not wise for this part of the state to come together under our culture, knowing, say, that each man is defending this territory, that the king, even though the system of traditional rulers and their powers has much diminished, through obvious reasons, it seems that there should be some vestige of that culture available in the rural areas, whereby there are men, real men, who are running and I don't mean criminals. I mean men of action and dignity, who are the chiefs, the chiefs of the king, who under them again would have people of the town, who under them again, the boys, the men, should be taught, everyone should be taught self-defense, but the boys and the men should be taught how to protect their environment. I believe that, and I believe that's how it was before in the past. In my family, they will talk about Jagun for centuries before. They'll talk about what is Jagun and who are the real Jagun among us. So when I look at this, I came on board because of what Ngozi had to say. And I thought, you know what? Ngozi is probably saying that because she's a woman. Then I said, no, it's not. She's not saying it because she's a woman. It seems like she's saying it because that is the actual position that most people are in. We're in the position of uselessness as to defending our territory. And that'd be a most rubbish position to be in, I'm afraid. I remember, again, just going back to my tale, being in Nigeria back all those years ago. and knowing said the village is beautiful, but it's totally insecure. There was an old man who was functioning as our gate man. I said, Mom, is this the person who's going to protect this house? The guy, you know, is next to his own grave by no particular going on. You know, this is the man that you're telling us is night watchman and he's going to protect us from armed robbers. During the days of Lawrence Anini. Are you hearing me? So, you know, I said to my mom at that time, there's no way I'm coming back to live in this country without direct arms. Not me. I can't just watch while I'm being robbed. I can't just be watching. How is it that we can just be watching a whole Benue State, and I don't mean to belittle what's going on there, but a whole Benue State has a particular tribe of people, and maybe they're doing all their tricks and in terms of how they're doing it, but they're entering into your zone and they are robbing and maiming and killing. Right? That is an appalling position to be in. Me, I can't put myself in that position. And as I say, if any one of us goes back to Nigeria and tries to live a quiet life, I think that's a failure. Because we already know too much. If you go to Nigeria and you cannot somehow force communication into your village, city area, locality, neighborhood, that we need to become a community of people. We need to love each other, and we are protecting every inch of our land, be it farmland, be it homestead territories, be it traditional, spiritual, whatever the terrain be. We have to protect it. I can't live in Nigeria without knowing that I have some safety. And if the police and the local constabulary, whoever the government appoint to protect me, I know that they can't do it, I'm going to do it for myself, and I'm going to bring people together to do it as well. And I don't know what we're doing sometimes talking about these things when we're living in a lawless land. You know, some of us, we like to be law-abiding people. You have no law. The state of Nigeria is being run lawlessly. You can see it clearly by what your superiors are doing. They are all criminals. There's no point in trying to say, oh, he's not as bad as this. They're criminals because they're allowing a system of oppression and narcissism to take place in the country. So I'm saying to every Nigerian on this platform, I'm saying to every Nigerian who can hear me, that if you are not coming together at this stage to empower your community into defending your terrain, then I'm afraid, knowing that the government isn't doing it, then I'm afraid you're following laws too far. And I don't like to speak of criminality. I don't like to speak as though crime is the answer to crime. No, I don't like to speak like that. But you see, as a human being who values life, I can't be in a environment where I know they don't value life here. And common sense is not common. There's no way I can just leave myself to the wind in that aspect. No way. No way in the world. Okay. So yeah, that's my little thought. Thank you very much for showing me time and respect.
Yep, no worries. Thank you, Jago. Like I said, similar to the way Chris gave his submission, anyone with a brain, size of a pea would understand what you're saying without being expressed, without saying it in clear terms that might make anyone run into trouble. So this is why we come here. Solutions, suggestions, of course, rant, complain, but out of it would come suggestions and solutions, and hopefully we'll be able to look back on this series and say something tangible came out of it. That's the whole point. It might be slow, but eventually we would see some results. Kenny,
yeah, thank you.
Brand.
Thank you.
I know you've come to to just pour fire on everything.
I think this is a special show, right? Because I don't think we do have your say on Mondays. So
No, I'm
this
not sure
must
if
be
you
a
watched from the
special.
beginning.
No,
Like I said,
couldn't.
so what I said was I was at work this morning, and honestly, I couldn't concentrate. I just couldn't do anything. The images I saw over the weekend kept
Okay,
flashing in my head, and that was
that's
about 8 o'clock. I start quite early so I can run off at 3 o'clock. Around 8 o'clock, I couldn't do anything. My brain was just like, So I messaged Rudolph. I said, I'm going to do a show tonight. When was the last time you see me host a show? I'm under the weather. You can clearly hear that. But I told Rudolph, I said, I have to do
right.
a show tonight. So I contacted the backroom staff. I said, please put the flyer out, do something. I contacted Ngozika, please put the description together. Just do whatever. I
I
need to
think,
get this off
yeah,
my mind, and I need to hear Nigerians speak on it. And I also think this channel, we owe it to the people of Benue to dedicate at least a show to them.
exactly.
Because,
I think,
I mean,
I think you did you did a very commendable thing today.
Indeed.
Because personally, I was even trying to maybe later in the evening, I will look around on YouTube, see any channel that is talking about the topic for me to come in. But thank God you took the step. See, I will start off with what Chris stated. He said that if you go out of your ethnicity, you are no longer a human being. And I will add to this that Wike is not longer a human being. Sunday Olise, Mechi, Chibike, they are not human beings any longer. Now, in Nigeria, we had one T.Y. Danjuma, former military officer, I believe. We had one governor from the north, can't remember the name right now. And then we had a DSS officer came out publicly and encouraged Nigerians to protect themselves
just
against
to
this
correct that,
flag.
just to correct that, not correct, but it wasn't just an ordinary DSS officer. It was the Director General of DSS. But go on.
Exactly. So they all encourage Nigerians to protect themselves because not that Nigerian Army, Air Force, Navy, police are incompetent, but because so many things are involved in this situation. One, the police are busy giving protection to the likes of Cubana chief priests, all those useless boys in Nigeria. They are busy giving them protection. They are busy giving protections to criminals that stole your money and then become rich men overnight. The army are also busy giving them protections. So we have little manpower to fight off this terrorism. However, Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa were way ahead of them to begin to give their people protection. They started long before the DSS officer, T.Y. Danjuma, and the governor from the north encouraged Nigerians to protect themselves. We, the Indibo, we found favor in the eyes of, or in the sight of this guy, Nnamdi Kanu and Simon Ekpa. They were doing everything possible to protect our people. The same Igbo people, my sister Ngozika, I remember on this platform you ran Simon Ekpa down, ran ESN down. And I believe today you have beginning to see the wonders that these people were doing in the Southeast. Because you rightly said here that you thought about all these things, you could not come up with any solution, any response. Now the answer is what Chris advised you to do. From today, please begin to look towards ESN and support what they are doing. Because it is right there in your backyard. In short, it is in Enugu already. The people of Wani, is it Uzo Wani? They experience these killings just as the people of Benue State. When they are finished with Benue, they are coming down to Enugu, they are coming down to Anambra, they are coming down to Abia, they are coming down everywhere. Now, we condemn our own, we run down our own. Even when Imo State Governor, Hopeless Ozodema, was publicly declaring that the killing in his state were not being done or perpetrated by the ESN, but his fellow politicians. He was telling everybody that the killing in Imo State was being carried out by his fellow politicians. Yet, we choose to believe useless politicians that want to blackmail ESN, IPOB, Simon Ekpa, and condemn them. We follow them because we are very we tend to believe our enemies easily. Now, this is it. When I heard about this killing, the first person that came to my mind, I actually went on Facebook and Googled his page, was Adeboye, Pastor Adeboye. The second person was Tunde Bakari. The third was Wole Soyinka. And I asked these three men, where are they? Where are their voices? Are they now mute? They can't talk now. They can't protest. Tunde Bakare cannot come up on the public and say that Tinubu is a useless man, just the way he called Goodluck Jonathan a useless man. He cannot come out and say that Tinubu must go to hellfire because he's a sinner, just the way he condemned Goodluck Jonathan. See, somebody on this show now stated that we have no solution. You don't have solution. We have a solution. One solution, one singular solution, which I've advocated on this platform. They were in Ghana. Ghanaians put hands together and flush them out to the extent that if they go to Ghanaian embassy right now or immigration office to seek for international passport, they will be denied. The Ghanaian government will tell them, you are not a citizen of Ghana. Get out. There's Fulani people. I'm not trying to absorb any Fulani person here right now because what happened in Abo should be an eye-opener. When they were run down in Abo, this was when Fulani people came out and started speaking. But it was okay for their people to keep killing the innocent. And then when they were caught and by them, they all ran out and started speaking against it. So I'm not going to absorb any of them. They are all culpable. All of them are culprits. See, Ghana began to refuse to issue them passport because they are not Ghanaian citizens. They went to Burkina Faso. They thought it was business as usual. They were sponsored, funded to go to Burkina Faso. Within 6 hours, they were flushed out completely. Can you replicate that in Nigeria? Yes, you can do that. You can. But the problem is, instead of flushing them out in Nigeria, the Nigerian government received them, gave them first-class welcome party, so I should be for them, and absorb them into Nigerian army and give them gun. So in the Nigerian army today, the Nigerian army that you are calling upon to come and protect you, you are simply calling upon Boko Haram to come and kill you. They are Boko Haram. They can't protect you. Because we all know that the Boko Haram are in the Nigerian army today. Officially, Nigerian government welcomed them and gave them uniform, gave them gun. So they are not going to protect you. The only way to protect yourself right now is to come together. You don't need any license to own any color in Nigeria. You don't need license to protect yourself.
You do. You do.
No. Yes. Because of this show, right? Me, personally, I don't need license in Nigeria to protect myself.
Okay.
Yes, me, personally. I don't need license to protect myself. Do you understand?
The show recommends that you follow the laws.
Yes, this show, because of this show, you need license.
I fully recommend that statement.
Yes.
Now, we had, what they call it, in Enugu State, helicopter coming to drop arms for the Boko Haram people. The videos were captured, shared, nothing was said about it. Media, the media houses, channels, Arise, TVC, Jagaban, Scolata, they were all blind to this. The same helicopter, sometimes ago, I think last month or thereabout, went to a community in Anambra State, Ihala local government. There is this community in Ihala local government, and shelled a building. By everybody there. Helicopter. It flies everywhere, drops arms for them everywhere. There was a video. There was a video.
So we can pass the mic on.
Yeah, a Nigerian army, I think other rank officer, came out and was accusing the senior ranked officers of being in connivance with the Boko Haram activities. That is just like a business. The buy-in must continue so that they will be able to be having a contract. The Nigerian army officers right now getting contracts left, right, and center. It's a business now. So how do you think that this terrorism is going to end in Nigeria? You are still dreaming. The only way is to sponsor your local security agencies like ESN, IPOB, whatever they are having. The Benue people, you have to form yourself. You have to form one for yourself. The Plateau State, everywhere you have to form one, organize one for yourself. Don't rely on these people. Don't even go and seek license from them because they are not going to give you a license.
All right.
Protect your people. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you for your submission. So we've now come to Soli. I think I've come across you once or twice on this platform, and I know you're a man who talks solution. You're fed up of discussions. I think that's how you always start. So I'm gonna leave the floor to you for the next 10 minutes. No questions asked. You've come with a mind of your own. So whatever you've come to tell us, the floor is yours. Good to have you.
Hello, good evening. So all this thing is not new to me. I've been seeing videos like this for the past 4 years, 5 years. When you said you couldn't, you didn't have like a peaceful day because your mind was. I've been seeing this thing has traumatized me years ago. And what used to pain me, the reason why I'm just smiling is because when I complain about it, Nigerians don't care. It's 2 to 4 years later that Nigerians used to care when I don't care anymore. When the thing just comes out and the water is out of the bottle, Nigerians don't want to know because maybe the water is not touching their socks right now. But once they see it's touching other people's socks, the one that is beside them and is getting closer to them, that is when they care. That is why it's so hard for me to care. When you allow somebody to steal, right? They steal 1,000, you don't say anything. They move to 10,000. In fact, you greet them the next morning. They move to 100,000 because the more they steal, the more respect you are giving them. That's why we have reached a point where our politicians are now budgeting trillions to steal. It didn't just start yesterday. It was gradually. And I try to explain these things to Nigerians all the time, but Nigerians don't know cause and effect. I don't know. No, I was saying all Nigerians, but majority of Nigerians, they don't know cause and effect. When you allow something little to slide, you are only giving a door open for it to be bigger and bigger and bigger. We have so many distractions. We have so many distractions. When I still see people talk about, and I know more people will be like, oh, why are they always talking about this guy, Peter Obi? If Peter Obi had done what he did in Nigeria, he will not be able to open any bank accounts in any of the Western countries that we live in. If he was a regular citizen. But you know what? As long as he did some things and saved some money, Nigerians will forgive him for the little crime that he committed. Majority of the politicians in the Southwest, they committed little crime in USA, all these Western countries, and they came back to Nigeria, they were forgiving. What are we enjoying now? Suffering. So I don't like complaining. It's not like we should not complain, we should not cry, we should not. But eventually, if you live in the Western world, they'll frustrate your life where you know that at least at the end of the day, the only way to get out of your problem is by solving your problem. If you like cry, if you like say racism, if you like say they hate you, if you like say, if you want to live there, you will solve your problem. You will fill your forms, you will pay your fines, or your situation will get worse, So who is benefiting mostly from all these things? There's a pattern. There's always a pattern, The places that have been attacked, they have resources, How do they get the resources? Obviously, these Western countries, they cannot come there, bulldoze you. They've been doing it in all these other countries. They'll come there, they wipe out the people, then they'll take over the place. They will call it ethnic cleansing, farmer header, whatever. But the government is protecting them. You know, I know that if this was, and you look at your politicians are not really Nigerians. You know, they have US passports, they have British passports, they are loyal to their true countries. So if their true countries now tell them that, oh, we'll give you a certain percentage, let's just wipe out these people, the Westerners have no empathy for you, you know. And if they tell the person that is from their country, maybe the person is from France or from USA, but he has Nigerian passport too, and is a politician, if they tell him that just wipe out these small 200 people, you know, and we'll be giving you the resources that we're refining from there, they'll do it. You don't matter to them. You don't matter to them. When they are paying them, you know, apart from the money they can steal from governments, they are not getting extra money from the resources on the side, and they can do it for 8 years. If they are lucky, they can install another person and run it for 16 years. Just sucking the resources, because they are going for a bigger position, you know. So you don't look at the root cause. And Nigerians, you see, you are going to protest. This is where I see it. They will protest, right? You get some attention, government will make some promises, the thing will calm down a little bit, and then it will start out in another place again, because business sports in this side. You know, that Edo thing, it was business sports. It's not like they won't come back, but they've moved to another sector. You know, they will come back later once government has helped them secure that place for the Western people. You look at the weapons these people are carrying. Who is giving them? Who is giving them? These people don't speak any Nigerian languages. When you go to any place where the West is sponsoring all these people, it's mostly Fulani people. No matter whether it's the South of Africa, West of Africa, East of Africa, Ghana, it's not Fulani people. So these people are people that are contracted all the time. They get government protection because obviously most of our politicians, they were criminals abroad. you know, so the Western countries have them on a leash. Either we do this or we expose your files. And we know how these people, they don't like being exposed. So they wipe out, if they tell Tinubu to wipe out half of Lagos, if they find the resources that they need there, Tinubu will wipe it out. Nigerians yell, they complain, they'll start doing tribal fights like foolish people. You know, they'll start doing religious fights like foolish people, and nothing will happen. You know, everybody will just get more security, and you'll forget about the matter, and they'll get used to it, and they'll start bragging that, oh, Nigerians are resilient. There's nothing that can face us. You know, all those foolish statements they used to say. That is a statement of trauma, but they don't know it's a statement of trauma. You know, so they'll be saying people are not suffering now. People are suffering. You know, one thing that my mother told me is that you may say Bill Gates made it, but what about the other millions of people that tried? Where are they? But as long as Bill Gates made it, we feel like, oh, as long as you try, you will make it. Millions of people are suffering. Millions of people are. That community is the one that you heard about and just got clout. There are many other communities that you don't hear about that is even happening tonight. That's been happening for years, almost 10 years, you know, that I know about it. So Nigerians think too much like civilians. You think too much like a Nigerian serving the country. I've always thought like a politician. You know, it was always shocking to me when I went to university because I was very locked up and I saw the way Nigerians actually thought. True Nigerians, like real Nigerians. You are too forgiving. You know, you are too forgiving. I don't know any politician that will forgive all this kind of things that is happening. You are too forgiving. You are too fixated in order. You think that you go to court and you get things done. You don't understand the country that you live in. You don't understand the people that you live in. When I see people do tribal fight, I just see them as foolish time wasters. You know, you are wasting the time of the people that really need it. I've never heard a politician argue about tribe before. You rarely hear rich people argue about tribe before. It's only foolish people that argue about tribe. You know, okay, you say, I'm a Yoruba man. The Igbo man is insulting me. But is it the Igbo man that is not allowing my people to move out of poverty? Is it the Igbo man that is stealing my resources? Is it the Igbo man that is stealing government fund? Oh, but he hurts my feelings. You know, foolish Nigerians. Same thing for other tribes. Wasting time on foolish things, non-entities. Just, we know how to waste our life. We are masters at wasting life. That's why we are very good in the entertainment industry. It is not a good thing. You are a dancing clown and you are a professional dancing clown. So this Benue thing is not the worst thing that I've seen. I've seen too many things. I stopped caring because people don't care. Look at the people in Lagos. How many of them care? Because it's not at their doorstep. And these people know it's always a strategy. They know that as long as it's not affecting some parts, majority of the country will not care. And they can continue doing it. This thing is not going to stop. I don't want to say I promise you, but I can say I can bet my money on it. It's not going to stop. You are just going to feel satisfied that at least you spoke about it, you did some protests, you tried. And then everybody will go back to sleep, and then it comes back to the next neighborhood. What actions are you taking? Are you being
in 2
strategic?
minutes, please, Oli. In 2 minutes.
Yeah, so Nigerians have to be they have to be more strategic. You have to expect the worst and prepare for it. Instead of waiting for the worst and then you now start reacting. The mindset has to shift, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. Nigerians will never think Westerners are their enemy. And that's the main thing. You have to go to the root cause. When you go to the root cause, you go to the Westerners, you see who the Western puppets are, you see who is benefiting from all this, then you begin to see the pattern. Then you know who to attack, who to address. When you know who to attack and address, we can make the loudest noise. Everybody will hear us. But as long as we are blaming one tribe, we are blaming one governor, it disgusts me when I see Nigerians saying, please, president, help us. Please, government, help us. Please, local government chairman. Why? Why should they help you? Why are you? Why are you? They know you are suffering. Why? Somebody knows you are suffering, but you are begging that same person for help. Somebody is the reason for your suffering, but you are begging that person to help you. Just foolish. Why would he? Why? Why are you begging government? Why are you begging the president? They put you in that position. So yeah, that's
All right,
just it.
thank you. So thank you, Soli. That's a lot to take in. But thank you for your submission. A lot of people were wondering why you're smiling. But I've listened to you before, so I understand where you're coming from. You've probably seen enough that, like you said, you don't care anymore. Not like you don't care, but But thank you for stopping by. Who's next now? It's Had Not. Has he left? Oh, he was here a second ago. Okay, when it comes back, we'll give him priority to speak. We've got about 45 minutes before this stream ends. And once this ends, KJ lives in North America. So there's still they're about 7 p.m. where KJ is. So KJ is going to start another stream and it would, take you into the late hours. Oh, Had Not is back. I'm going to add him back so he can have his say. All right. So just as I was saying, KJ is going to start another stream shortly after this because it's midnight for myself and Chagu, and I think Chris as well. So I'm going to go to bed in a minute. Once it's 1 a.m. in another 45 minutes. Anyway, enough of the waffling from myself. Let's have Had Not. Okay. So Had Not.
Okay.
Got the floor. Thank you for joining us. Yes, clearly.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Someone needs to mute themselves. I can hear echo. If you're not speaking, please mute yourself. Hadnot, do you have your YouTube on somewhere like TV or YouTube playing on the same device? There's something feeding back.
You hear the feedback?
No, it's gone now. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. You've got the floor. We're discussing Benue Massacre.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think I'll just be straight to the point. So it's pointless to beat about the bush, because lives are being lost, and it's black life that is, even though some of us don't see it from that perspective, it's black life that is being lost. Now, it's common knowledge. So I want us to just to kind of be honest and not be hypocrites. So it's common knowledge now that there are external actors or sponsors who are sponsoring these people. Their intentions and agenda, it's not just one thing, right? But the external also meet. There's a point at which their agenda and that of the external factors converge. They want to overrun the land, and then they want the resources that lie therein. So, if we agree on that, then what is the problem? What's the problem we have now in Nigeria? Why is this surviving? So the thing is that what we're doing in Nigeria is that we are underplaying the enormity of the intention of these factors combined, the invaders and the or whoever is and sponsors. And we are doing it to a great extent, like we're paying lip service. We are looking at it just from the level of state, military incompetence, sabotage, and all that. But this is something that has been ongoing for several years now, and it's killed many people. Because it's black lives, it doesn't matter, right? Except maybe if someone very close to you, your relative or someone of your tribe, huh? Because what is going on in Nigeria is like, if you see in this platform, the way we've answered it, there are people like Kenny and Chris, they've called out this thing for what it is. But some people have danced around this issue. So the problem in Nigeria is that even when you want to solve this, if you go on the Nigerian front, that's where you have that problem. Because some people keep dancing around the issue while some people are serious. And what happens is that those people dance around the issue and pose the problem to those who are serious. Because Nigeria is akin to roommates who have been put together in a flat. And then you have an invader or intruder. And each person in his room is trying to keep himself safe. But they have to work together. Now, some people feel that you can bring the intruder, give him lunch, breakfast, dine with him, and let him go, or just let him take a corner of the room, we'll be fine. Some people are like, no. We want to chase this guy, chase him away. Some people want to even kill him and behead him. And when I use the rules, it's the tribes. Because regardless of how you people want to put it, we only care about our tribe. It's another thing we can go and solve. But that is the fact. If it's Yorubas will show emotion. If it's Igbos, they show. That is how we think. All these state things are not really the issue. It is the tribe thing. So the point is that the only effective front that is going to turn these people off will be those ones organized by the tribes. That is where you will get the true nationalistic.
Looks like we're losing you. Your internet is playing up hard not. While we'll wait for you.
Sister Luka Kawos in Makodi. Sister Luka Kawos in Makodi. Sister Luka Kawos in Makodi. Benue State government is escorting them. Makodi capital. Sister Luke.
Oh my God! Can you imagine this? So, friend.
I mean, how does anyone even think this makes sense in 2025? Because it's your way of life, it's the way your forefathers have lived, it's the way you've always done things. It's just not something we should be doing in 2025. It would lead to clashes, even if they're not destroying anyone's crop. Just the fact that I want to drive on the road and I cannot because you're going around with your cows on the major road. That's Makodi. That's the capital of Benue State. That's not sustainable. But we've had people come on this panel to defend it and say it's their way of life. We should accommodate it. Accommodate what? That's an eyesore. Even Wike, when he first came, if you remember, when he first came as the minister for FCT Abuja, he was talking tough. We're going to get rid of all these cows. He's kept quiet since. So these guys, who are their backers? Because they seem more powerful than the whole country. Wike came, the gangster Wike talking, he was going to get rid of them, and all of a sudden, Wike is quiet. There are cows still on the street of Abuja today, from time to time. Anyway, we've lost. Is he backstage? Oh, it's backstage. Okay, I'll bring it on. What's happening? Where does it disappear to? What's that? There's something going on with. Okay, I'll remove him. Had not. You probably want to log off completely and rejoin us so that you can give your submission. We've got about 25 minutes. So let me take it from the top again. I'll come to you, Tony, to give me like your final thought on this. I know the show will carry on, but for the sake of the show I'm hosting, if you just give me your final thoughts, solution in like 2-3 minutes. It doesn't have to be practical. It doesn't have to be something everybody will buy into. But what do you think we can do to move forward from this and reduce, if not totally eradicate, this incessant unaliving of our people?
I was listening to I was on a platform where a similar issue like this was brought up, and they looked at who are the sponsors of terrorism, particularly with respect to this Fulani terrorist attacks. And one thing that came out from that discussion was that there's a relationship between kidnapping, how much is gotten from kidnapping, ransom that is paid, and the arming of some of these terrorists. And if you look at Zamfara too, you could also see that Chinese involvement, and the sell, the gold and so on, illicit trading of gold and so on in Dubai and some other places, and they channel these funds, they use them to buy arms and so on and so forth and ship them down here. So there's a need for us to tackle kidnapping. And this is not related just to one section of the country. I mean, so many people so many shades, it has so many shades and coloration. So that the funding that gets from here, I wrote down the figures in terms of how much has come in. It's staggering, it runs into trillions. So if we stop that, then we would we'll succeed in cutting off part of the funding, that comes in within, the country. And then two, I think that politics, ethnicity, religion are also three main factors that are also helping to fuel this crisis across board. So if we would have a way that we can redefine our understanding of the issues in Nigeria as they affect all of us, and see that as long as we continue to promote this, primordial influences on our politics and in our government, in a way of life, it's not going to be a win-win for anybody. It's a lose-lose for all of us. And if we want our country to proceed, to move forward, then we have to deal with, all these issues. And I think that's one way, we're going to, the people need to be sensitized. We generally have to understand that nobody wins if we continue this way we're going. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tony. Before I come to you, KJ, I'll just play, most of you have seen this. I'll play the clip of the Pope before the Angelus on Sunday when he spoke about the incident in Benue.
Nella notte tra il 13 e il 14 giugno, nella città di Yelwata, nell'area amministrativa locale di Guma, nello stato di Benue, in Nigeria, si è verificato un terribile massacro in cui circa 200 persone sono state uccise con estrema crudeltà, la maggior parte delle quali erano sfollati interni, ospitati dalla missione cattolica locale. Prego affinché la sicurezza, la giustizia e la pace prevalgano in Nigeria, paese amato è così colpito da varie forme di violenza. E prego in modo particolare per le comunità cristiane rurali dello Stato di Benue, che incessantemente sono stati vittime della violenza.
Right. So, KJ, before I come to you, I know you're a man of faith, and I know you preach the gospel in different capacities, or I believe you do. I don't know for a fact. That's the Pope in faraway Rome. He spoke about this before our president did. He spoke about it on Sunday morning. The president spoke about it Sunday night. This incident happened on Friday night. But leaving the president aside, our GEOs, the famous ones, the big ones, why do you think they didn't speak about this? Why didn't they, speak like the Pope did?
Okay, if I need to answer your question, frontally, as they will say, I will say because they have their hands soiled. Because if you don't have your hands soiled, why are you the people they are decimating are your ships under you?
Yeah.
The Pope is how many thousands of kilometers away from you? You are where this incident is happening. Apart from the statement given by the Bishop of Makurdi and his fellow bishops, none of the big GOs, those who God has given Nigeria into their hands, those before they will tell that before anything happens, Nigeria, God will consult them. Those consultants of God, till today, have not found any way to say anything. And sometimes it begins to really, you begin to really wonder if we are actually doing what God has called us to do. Because he said to Peter, if you love me, feed my sheep. Now, it's the sheep that are feeding Peter. Peter is no longer feeding the sheep. It is now reversed. Because if Peter was feeding the sheep, Peter would take care of the sheep and find out about their welfare and ask them and go to those places and make provision, even when this kind of things happen. And I'm not going to blanketly speak about it because a few of them, have thrown in one or two things. Some of them, like Enenche has spoken extensively on these things. Okay. But those people who seem to always say that they know why God is bringing Tinubu to the position, and who always say that Tinubu is the best thing that God had chosen to give to Nigeria, they will not say anything. Those ones who marched in the street of Lagos demanding that Jonathan be removed, they will not say anything. And that is why people are beginning to lose faith in what we are calling ourselves and what we are preaching. If we can try as much as possible to be balanced and fair in what we do, I'm sure that Christianity will have more sway in Nigeria than what we have now. Because we only speak when it concerns the offering and the tithes. When something goes to touch it, then that's the time we come out swinging and threatening the whole nation. But now that everybody is asking that we take a stand, you see, let me tell you something, sure. If the body of Christ in Nigeria had taken a stand on this thing, it would have stopped a long time ago. Because we'll go to church and tell the people, don't worry, now that they have killed your cousin, killed your nephew, killed your sister, and it's remaining two of you, people shouldn't do anything. Just wait. If they come the next day, present the two of you, just come out, let it be over. And then you go to, you see, this is not the gospel of Christ. When they went to build back the wall, the Zerubbabel, when he was asked to go and rebuild the walls, what did they say? You hold your Bible in one hand, you hold the sword on the other hand. In other words, they were building in one hand and holding their sword, for what they use in defending themselves. So let nobody tell me that because you're a Christian, you should just roll over and play dead, and then let them just run over your city. Look at what they did to those children, innocent children, women, men. Okay, there is, look, sure, I'm emotional about it because I know we are not defenseless, but unfortunately the system is helping to make people become as if they are helpless. Now, these people, there is nothing like Headers Farmers Clash. I can tell you that for free. It is orchestrated by the evil agenda of those oligarchies in the north. And I tell you, I want to let you know how this works. many years ago, I think like about 6 years or 7 years ago, we did a survey. And I'm telling you what I took part in. We did a survey in Nigeria, and we found out that everybody who is speaking on behalf of the federal government of Nigeria in the international community, the UN agencies, are all Fulanis. Go check it out. So the narrative that they want you to speak, to say, is what they're putting out there. And that's why they are so angry with the bishop, Archbishop of Makurdi, who went who came to the Congress and addressed the Congress and said, this is the situation happening in Nigeria. The people who are representing us, go and check Amina Mohammed, who is the other one, the former UN president who just left. Who is he? Go check. Go check. And I don't want to mention names here, but I know some Nigerians who are also going there, and they found out that when you go submit petitions, you don't go beyond those people, because they just go there and tell the people, these are herders farmers clash. It's been going on since before Nigeria became amalgamated. So we are trying to deal with it. These are the routes that the Fulanis used to pass. Now the houses are developed there, and farmland are there now. So when they get there, the crops and all that, but we're doing something about it. That is why Tinubu rushed to Rome, to go and see how he can continue that narrative. Unfortunately for the Christians in Nigeria, the Pope has a first-hand information. So one of those days they will go and try and play that nonsense politics. You can see that the man has people on ground who can give him adequate information of what is going on. I'm not thinking that he's going to do anything apart from calling out world attention to it. Even now, if you notice, it's not on the CNN, it's not on the news channels. Even the local news TVs and media didn't mention it. It was when it came from the Pope that they now started running helter-skelter to try to see how they can, stupidly put themselves together. The system has been built against Christianity in Nigeria. The earlier we wake up, the better for us. Let me conclude with this. Sorry, sir.
Yes. Good.
Around I think it's 2015 or 14, we did an interview with an Israeli ambassador, and he said to us, in the asking of that question, I was there with my boss, so he asked him, why are you people always aggressive? You know what he said to us? He said, because the people we are dealing with, they don't hear sorry. They don't play cool. If you are playing cool, they think you're taking for weakness. If you are saying, please, let's be at peace, they take it for weakness. And that is why Israel will never, that's what he said, will never relent. If you take one out, they will take 10, because that's the only language they understand. This is what he said in his office in Abuja. That is why they've done with negotiation. And they have told Jonathan this, because it was during Jonathan's time. They said the people you are going to do, I beg. It's going to get worse. That was 2014 or 2013. What's today? Has it not got worse? So until we wake up, I know that these people, until we decide to hit back, they are not going to stop. Okay. Today is 200 and something in Benue. I can tell you for free, it is not over. They are coming back again, and they will do it again. Go mark my word.
All right. Yeah, hopefully that's not the case, but we can only hope. Thank you, KJ. Chris, your final submission on this topic.
Oh, well, yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's very sad, that in 21st century, we're still talking about how we could organize ourselves, not talking about development. But you see, some people still have mindset that conquest is still on for them to continue. What I would like us to do, or what I would want you people in the media to do, is to always try to inform people, because sometimes we go about this mantra, they say, because I hear somebody say, why are you doing tribalism? Why are you doing tribalism? Why are you doing tribalism? They will say, oh, there is strength in diversity, but they don't understand what that means. Yes, the statement might be true, but how do you get strength in diversity? There are what we call incompatible diversity, and you can't get strength from it. You can't even try. And the only way you can get strength is when you have hybridization. And there are ways to do hybridization, not cross-pollination. What is happening in Nigeria today is cross-pollination. Cross-pollination is like contamination, product contamination. So Nigeria is so much contaminated today that it will need purification before you can rebuild. And I keep on saying to you people, those of you in the media, try to, I wish the TV, because I don't want to use all these names, those who structured Nigeria into states. You know, one of the laws laws of power says, if you want to conquer people, devastate them. So Nigeria has been devastated through education and through restructuring. You know, those who are restructuring knew why they are doing so. There's a statement Babangida said recently when they were talking about who will be the next leader in Nigeria. He says he sees somebody has to come and say his qualification and his faith. And I was curious about faith. Why faith? The only reason is simple. Some people want to Islamize Nigeria, and it has been said for a long time. That is one pursuit. The second pursuit is, if the Fulanis are taking advantage, if we Islamize Nigeria, then we'll be able to conquer Nigeria. And that's the second step they are doing now. And I hope the TV people will understand that this is not a Benue issue. It is a TV issue. And other nationalities should also understand. You know, I've said it. If you want to protest, first of all, you have to have something to protest. The elites in TV can draw constitution. The Hausas can draw their own constitution. The Igbos can draw their own constitution. The Yorubas can draw their own constitution. And they can go to their state, right? And start, because the Fulanis are doing a lot of things while the other people are doing nothing. They can start imposing some of this constitution. You know, within Benue, they can force them to adopt their own constitution. Then with that, the TV will start coming together. The Yorubas will start coming together. The Fulanis, if they want to conquer people, they start coming together and first those people.
Okay.
To talk about Nigeria as ongoing concern, to be honest, is to try to keep people dying every day. Okay. I don't know how long it will take to finish everybody or the conquest to materialize. Thank you. And good night.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Not to disagree with what you said, but I'm just thinking when you said the elites from each, tribe or group of people to draw constitution or to come together, I personally believe that the majority of the elites of every tribe are against the disintegration of Nigeria as it is because it works for them. You hardly see the elite disagree.
No, not exactly. No. Let me say this, right? You see, when people when people say that the politicians don't disagree, it is not true. If they don't disagree, why do they turn into their ethnicity when they have problem?
Yeah, I mean, they can use the people when it's convenient for them. Odd use Okalu is
Because
campaigning for Tinubu
no,
today.
not even it's because when they have problem,
Odd
they
use
first human.
Okalu is campaigning for Tinubu today.
Yes.
What
Let-
are we
let-
saying?
Okay,
Is it not an elite?
let me answer that. Okay. You see, the point is this: when you have a problem, the first thing you do is to resort to your strength.
Okay.
Resort to your strength. And their strength is first the ethnicity. Now, Ojuso Kano, you have made so many statements all over the place. There are places is when he's talking about this thing, survivor. He's doing survivor. There's something they
Maybe
call survivor.
maybe you can carry on with this on the next show. I'd just like to pass the mic so that I can finish it.
Anyway, the next time we'll talk about this.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Don't worry,
Thank
KG is going to start another show, so I would
you.
listen while
No,
I'm going to
I'm
bed.
sleeping now. I'm going
Oh,
to
you're in
bed.
the
You know,
oh,
it's
yeah,
already late in the night. I don't know where you are calling from. You know,
I'm in
America
Kenya,
is in the morning, but
Before you
I'm
leave,
in the UK.
Chris, before you
yeah,
leave, please
yeah.
allow the session to end. So you hear what people have to say, because I want to reply to one or two things you said.
Okay, yeah, that's fantastic. And the good thing is you're next, Jagun. But before you go,
Wonderful.
I'm not sure if you caught this. This particular guy, he referred to Professor Yemi Oshibajo as an ice cream seller, and ice cream sellers don't do well in politics. This was when Oshibajo tried to buy ticket or form and run for president in 2019. This particular guy.
My principal is an economic wizard who transformed Lagos into the third largest economy in Africa. He will concentrate on the economy. By God's grace, I will handle the security arm. Not only handle the security arm, I will lead the troops to battle across the length and breadth.
So that's the current VP. And what baffles me with Nigerian media, like the mainstream media, is the next time they interview this guy, you would think somebody would bring this out and play it to him and say, Mr. Vice President, what's the deal? You said you're going to lead the troops, but you've not done anything. But Jagun, your final thoughts, maybe in your response.
Again, these people, man, I don't like commenting too much about individual Nigerian politicians, because really I regard them all as I don't know how appallingly I need to speak to put it. My disrespect for what they do and how they do it is immense. I don't take them. Someone was mentioning human being and non-human being before, and whilst I don't agree with that kind of terminology, I think that this is where I would talk about human being and non-human being. I don't give them too much for what they say and don't say. They just continually are doing the wrong thing. So it doesn't smack of any individual that has patriotism inside him, that has a love of people and country inside him. They don't smack me like these kinds of people. And I know these kinds of people. I know the kind of people that care and are diligent within the way that they care. These aren't those people. I've never really fooled myself about Nigeria. I love Nigeria, love Nigerians. I know who we are deep inside, but I'm not proud. There's nothing to be proud of as a Nigerian. Generally, I think the most pride you can muster, is the pride for your family and what they did for you as an individual. Outside of that, I think it's very difficult to find pride in the Nigerian context. What I wanted to speak of was the word revolution, and it was mentioned by Chris. Whilst I agree with a lot of the things that he commented on, whilst I agree with them, I find that we make statements as Nigerians that are so fundamental that they even become the truth, and they're not the truth. To say there's the revolution can never happen in Nigeria, I think that's even somebody that doesn't understand necessarily what revolution is, or you don't know the myriads at which a revolution can take place, one, and two, the fact that we are a country that is still quite young, even though we in the diaspora especially believe that Nigeria should have gone a lot further than it has. I'm one of those who believe that. It's still only 60 odd years old. There's still a lot to get right in that country. And we haven't really ascertained. Somebody mentioned trauma earlier, but the trauma that we've 60 years of trauma is what we mounted on ourselves. But we had trauma before that. We had a lot of trauma before that. And sometimes when it's said that when the Oyinbo was here, it was a far better run country, this is understandable. The only thing is, the way that they were putting subliminals inside of our system of human beings, having people having enmity with each other when they didn't in their history. You know, these are things that we are still traumatized with. I wanting to end my statement realistically like this. Our man, I think his name was Hardnut, which sounds very British. Hello, Hardnut. He's an Hardnut. This is when this is the only time that Cockney have put grammar correctly. A-N, Ard, comma, A-R-D, nut, N-U-T. An Ardnut, which is correct in grammar, but not if it was an H put there. Anyway, sorry about that. You know, he was talking about the fact that tribe was important. And it's something that I always say, that this word, detribalize, is a funny term. I don't know what kind of term that is, but I don't glean to the term detribalize. And then this person is the most detribalized Nigerian. Shut up. Shut up.
I think it's because they've demonized
my brother
being tribal.
Well, there's no excuse.
I know, but over the years they've demonized it. If you say, "Oh," I mean, we even have people on this platform, and I don't want to call names.
Yes.
That if they ask you, and I say, "I'm an Ogun State man first. I'm Remo first before everything else," and they get upset.
My brother, I know say you have a great understanding of what important it is, how important it is to have your heritage.
Of course.
It's important, and it doesn't take away from your humanity, or it shouldn't. You know, you're a human being first before any ethnicity at all. However, what you have been grown up with, what you've been brought up with, what you've been taught in terms of wisdom, music, culture, all the rest of it, that goes along with who it is that you are, how you understand, how you think. This is identity. So by the time someone says, I'm the most tribalized person, you know me, I want to start swearing and cussing them and say, what kind of human being are you? What kind of human being are you? You know, it was said in those days by Awolowo, by this guy in the north at the time, Bello, and by, I think Zeke took a different terminology, and I understand where Zeke was coming from, but they spoke about this. Two of the major tribes underlined that ethnicity is important, tribe is important. One was talking more on a Pan-African level, and he was talking more to the tune of humanity. The only thing is that Nigeria wasn't there then. Nigeria is not Ghana. Ghana was there with the people, and you know, where that they really did have a black consciousness. We hadn't grown into that at that time. I don't even know if we're there today. But the fact of the matter is that tribe is important. And if in that country you want to do something peacefully between the geography of the land and the people who live within that geography, you take it state by state and say which tribes are claiming this particular state, and are they Nigerian? The Fulani will be found homeless. They'll be found homeless. And this is a possible revolutionary point where we start declaring what Nigeria is correctly. And once we've done that, there will be an odd one out, as it were. And that odd one out, it's not that we become violent, but we now stipulate what all the issues are, the problems are, and where we as Nigerians are going to state that for you to become a Nigerian as a Fulani. It is for real, for real. X, Y, Z, and W. I don't know what those things are particularly right now, but that is a kind of peaceful revolution that can be led from any corner of Nigeria, to be frank, just for us to begin getting this thing right. You see, before 2027, we as the people of Nigeria, because the government aren't going to do it, for goodness sake, we as the people of Nigeria have to start getting things right ourselves. Really, we do. We have to start getting things accurate and correct. The tribal warfare that we have between each other, I think when I hear it, and I do hear it from one particular side more than anywhere else. When I hear it, I'm bored. I'm fed up. I'm like, my God, you're just not the only one. Whatever it is that you think, how do you join the fight for Nigeria before the fight for any other ethnic area or terrain that you want to call? We are sorry. I just wanted to, because I want these things to go on. Yeah, I should end because I know we're in London for real.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you, Jacob. Pleasure having you around. Ungozika, all the way from Nigeria. You do well to one in Enugu. In fact, you are the real MVP. I'll give you a few minutes to give us your closing remark before I go to Benson Emmanuel.
Okay, so I want to say that Nigerians, initially I was saying that I've imagined myself so many times with a gun pointed to my head, my home burning, people being killed, the kind of things that are happening to people in Benue and in Hamufu. I've imagined myself in such situations several times, and every time I go blank, and people were like, "Oh, you don't go blank, you defend yourself." I'm like, "You look at you, defend yourself with what? What are you defending yourself with? These are people that are scared to come to Nigeria. There's kidnapping, yeah, you defend yourself. Talk is cheap. I don't take some of these people serious. Talk is cheap, very cheap, very, very cheap. The first time I heard a gunshot, it was the very first panic attack I had. I had the wildest palpitation, like it was very close range. And you're telling me that you will be attacked. You see people being killed, and you're going to defend yourself, fight for your. And watching. I'm like, look at all these ones. People that are even most of the people saying these things are not even in Nigeria. And when they come to Nigeria, they will look for armed people to protect them. It's easy to talk. Just pay me, no be you. The only thing I would say is that at that point it's not it's that at that point there's little to nothing you can do. I would always prefer that you do everything before that point. And what I wish we would do before that point is to stop talking. The people that do these things, not the kind of talking we are doing here, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love what we're doing here. The people that do these things, they don't talk. They just go ahead and just like Nike, they do it. They hold their cards close to their chest. And I'm speaking specifically to my Ndi Igbo. I have said this in Nzuko Ndi Igbo before. Cho is not good. Whatever you people want to do, you speak a common language. Every community speaks it. I like the fact that for each tribe in Nigeria, the people within those localities share languages. They understand each other. So if you're not from there, and you've not lived among them or you've not been good with them, you cannot understand what they're saying. It's an advantage. Use it. Do things within yourself. Don't come and be saying that we're going to do this. And that is the problem I had with the other people. You know them. I don't want to call their name. Those rabbit people. They're always talking too much. Oh, do. We do this. They'll carry camera and show. The people that are killing you are not carrying camera. You are the one that will still come and video after they are done dealing with you. They don't tell you anything. They just come and like Nike do it and go away. You are the one who will come and see what they did to us. See what they. Why can't you just quietly within yourselves Don't even need to get the politicians involved. They won't even come to the village meeting, so it's your own advantage. Quietly do this thing. Let them disappear.
Hmm.
Let them disappear. I know it sounds easy. I know I'm making it sound easy, but the truth is it can be done. But only if we stop um showing our cards and saying things we should not be saying. And for the love of God, if people that are saying that Ekene came here earlier was saying that Ngozi this, Ngozi that, till tomorrow, Simon Ekpa is a punk. Nnamdi Kanu is a punk. They are part of the problem we are having in the southeast. They no agreement with no mechanic and mad people again. Before in the southeast, if you see a threat, you easily identify it as what it is. Today, you will first of all check, do I know if it is a splinter faction of these people or that faction? You don't even know what you're dealing with, and it is because of these
Okay.
people. And
It's going to be an
you
interesting.
want me, Ngozi, in my right sense, to ever God, over my dead body. It won't happen. Those ones, people that I'm living in the chaotic reality they've created, you want me that is living in Enugu from Enugu. People are not serious people. Whatever we want to do to secure ourselves, do it before they meet you at that point where they have a gun to your head. That is all I want to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ngozika. I know this will lead to a bigger discussion in the second stream. And unfortunately for me, I'm going to Benson Emmanuel next after this. So pray for me. Ngozika, I'm going to take you backstage now so you can seek cover. Benson, good to have you. I have less than 10 minutes. So I'm going to
Good day,
speak to you. And
Good day, Mr. Show.
Good evening, sir.
Well, it's unfortunate what we are seeing in Nigeria, and we have been seeing this in Nigeria for many years. And unfortunately, many people may think that it will stop. It will not stop. Yeah, since I've been in, when we were growing up, the Fulanis are the one carrying knife everywhere. Nobody stopped them. No other tribe carries knife. They have what they call it, their dagger. And they have been doing this. But you see, some people, when they come here, they say
Sorry, there's a feedback from someone. Is your YouTube on or something?
no.
Okay, carry
They
on.
say that the West are sponsoring these people. And I'm asking, if the West are sponsoring them, why the West are not sponsoring Malaysia people? Why the West are not sponsoring Malaysian Muslims there to do all this nonsense? Why don't they sponsoring Singaporeans? Why don't they sponsoring other people to do those in their country? Only Nigeria they're sponsoring. Why they're not sponsoring Ghana? If people say this West, the West, the West. It's unfortunate. What is that? Sheikh or what? He went to Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia rejected him.
Sheikh Gumi.
Gumi. But Nigeria is a hero in Nigeria to the government. He talk and do everything. The Fulanis. These people take him as a hero. But in Saudi Arabia, they deported him. So you see, this thing of when people said this will want to conquer Nigeria, that's the actual truth. And if, for example, the British want to take the British are the ones sponsoring this or the West sponsoring this, or the people said we are a company of Britain, then if we are a company of Britain, why not we divide this country, divide into 3 or 4, so that Britain will not have any other people they can be their master? Is it not the best for us? If they say Britain is the one keeping us together, doing this together, why not we divide so that Britain will not have any other people they'll be eating local? But when you say this, people don't want. You think that if we divide, that that is going to be bad or other people fighting each other. Ghana is on their own today. Other countries are on their own today, and they're living fine. In Namibia, you can't kill a Namibian person and go free. You can't. It's when people talk about the politicians in Nigeria. Politicians are unity about the politicians are not unity. The problem is that when the Yorubas now say let's divide, some Yorubas or some Igbos will go and say no, because they want to be rich. Greed is what another problem is causing this problem. Greed. You see? And the way this country is structured, nobody want to lose whatever is getting from. All these people are gaining, like what you said before. You said Wike, if Wike say much, Tinubu will remove him. Because if Tinubu want to make the country well, why is Tinubu putting the Fulanis in charge of the military hierarchy? Why is the Fulanis in charge? That's the problem. These people are the one killing you. These people are terrorists. These people are everything. Why do you keep it in charge of the military? That is what we're not even asking ourselves. Why the Fulani is in charge? Another tribe could be supposed to be in charge fully. Then we know where the problem is coming from. But I continue to say, you see, in this program here, I hear that he just wanted to go disintegrate before. But it was Ojuku and Co that stopped them. Now, Igbos now want to go. The Fulanis and others are stopping them. We don't know what will happen tomorrow. Yorubas may want to go to Yorubas. Maybe another person can come and start dealing with Yorubas. They will say let them go, but they will not go again. There's no more road for them to go. Shoyinka and all other Yoruba elders who are supporting this Tinubu, it's a time for them to tell Tinubu the truth. Tinubu himself know the truth. Tinubu said before that the country, he don't believe in the country. Aulo will say the same thing. Others say the same thing. So why this time now? Because they having power. If they have the power, let them use this power and disintegrate Nigeria so that everybody can go, so that it can be peace. Without Nigeria disintegrating, this will continue. Even we are talking about Benue today. It's happening. Yesterday, it happened in Enugu. It happened in Enugu yesterday. We don't know. The other day it was in Imo State. They are coming. When people say they are coming, they are coming, they are coming, they are coming. If, for example, Tinubu leave the post tomorrow and they are full animal and take over this government, my brother, the West, we already finished. If Tinubu as a Satan is in charge of the government and this is happening to us, what if the Fulanis took over? Are we not finished? Are we not finished? My brother, Central African Republic didn't give the Fulanis. When Fulanis took over Central African Republic, the people revolted and deal with them. They deal with them. Why we the South? It's like we are useless or we are cursed. These people, okay, I want to ask, if it was the Yorubas that are going everywhere killing people, if it was he was going everywhere killing, you think the Yorubas will be alive today? You think that if the Igbos are the one going around killing people, everything about Fulani is terrorism, bandit, nonsense name they call them, herdsmen, nonsense name they call them. What if it's another tribe that is doing this nonsense for long? My brother, even in 1 month, only 2 months, there is genocide, they would kill all of them. So I think, you see, this issue of we going to party, making parties every Sunday, driving these big cars, making all this nonsense, that is what is killing us. And the South, they will wipe them out of this earth if they don't take care, if they don't stand up by now. Tinubu as the president, even I don't regard him as the president because he had such a person ruling Nigeria with the character. If it was Oshibanjo that is the president of Nigeria, I would be the happiest man. Because Oshibanjo will do something good. But for such a character, such a name, such a character that came to Nigeria, he didn't come to Nigeria to rule. He didn't want to be president to rule. He only wanted to be there just to be president. And my name has been written as a president. That's only what he's there for. Because if he's a real president, if he's a human being, if he's a real human being, he's supposed to have dealt with this for Fulanis. Deal with them. Right. Remove them from the military hierarchy. Remove them. Put somebody that can change the country. Help other areas. South. Yeah. Look at the South. That is all the whole resources are coming from. Nothing is being done for them. Nothing. No seaport. No nothing. At least if these people, these politicians or these people, they love Nigeria, you can't say every day Lagos have to have three seaports, 4 seaports. Develop other places so that the country can be supported. They're not doing it. Now they have taken our resources, hand over to Lord, that is Dantata. Destroy the refinery in River State and hand over our resources to Dantata, Dankote. Do you know what this is? If the Nigerian were able to make their refineries good, the money is supposed to be coming to Nigerians, but now the money is going to one man's pocket. That's where
All
the
right.
money is going to, and everybody is happy.
Oga Benson,
Ha!
sorry to cut you short. Don't worry. KG is going to start another show immediately.
No problem.
I just want Papa Ike to give us closing prayer. You know, is the colleague of the governor of Benue State. People who look after God's temple. Uncle Ike, give us closing prayer. And they go sleep, I beg.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
First of all, let's remember the innocent Nigerians that perished in Benue State. And as they grieve, we as Nigerians also, we grieve with them. Every time I used to say that none of us can give life. For someone to take someone's life is a lot. In my island where I live, 3 weeks ago, the Gen Zs who used to go to nightclub, they went to a club, and I think they had a problem. And one of the boys who were standing by the new club, there was shooting, a boy of 16 years, and he was shot and killed. Since that 3 weeks, this island remains like a dead place because it's unusual to see things like that. And thank God they have arrested up to 6 boys. And yesterday, the governor decided to use his power to say he mapped some neighborhoods. And the police have been given authority to stop anybody and search anybody. They can walk into your home and search your home. And the community is happy because we are not used to this kind of violent act. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about this, and I've always said, we do not have a government in Nigeria. And as long as there is no government in Nigeria, we can provide solutions from heaven to earth. It's not going to work. The illegitimacy of this government is a problem. They don't have the power to do anything. And that's why. That before what happened 2 days ago, on Friday in Benue State, killing has been going on. Even while your president was in France, killing was going on. Has he been able to visit any state where all this killing is going on? The answer is no. Has any of his ministers, has any of the people that are in government have been able to visit these places? The answer is no. So it's to tell you that these people have no regard for the life of Nigerian citizens. They don't have regard for anybody. We mean nothing to them. And they will continue to kill us until the day we say that the killing is enough. For me, the governor of Benue State, he should be ashamed of himself because he has lost the state before Friday. He has lost his authority in Benue State before Friday. I remember during the time of Autumn was shouting. He was doing everything humanly possible that he was doing. And they were saying he was playing politics with it. Now you have APC in the federal government, have APC in Benue State. How far? How market? How market? You know. So these people, my problem today when I listened to the governor, his interview in Arise, is it Arise or Channel? I can't remember, but I know in one of those stations, that this man was not bold enough to mention the Fulani in his mouth. Rather, he's telling us that it's people from outside that is killing his people. So he knew that the people that are killing his people are from outside. How did he know that they are from outside? So you can see when he was talking to the man from Babylon, he was praising him, what he has done for the people of Benue State, you know. So sure, this is the country we have.
All right.
And I think that Nigeria are entering to that, you know, final bus stop where it shall be to your tent, O Israel. Right. Because Nigerians we have been pushed to the wall. And not only that we have been pushed to the wall, we have been forced to open the wall and enter inside the wall. You know, so my hope is that Nigerians will rise up and defend themselves. Because if you are waiting for this government, or waiting for anybody to do it for you, because already their eyes are on 2027. They are not even governing anymore. So sure.
All right. Thank you very much for your submission. Like I said, KJ has already set up a second half of this stream because we try to keep it at 3 hours. So, I mean, out of courtesy, I've got another moderator who's just strolled in. And this is his bread and butter. So I know we'll have a lot to say on it because it's security, insecurity, the lack of it, and all of that. But forefathers, I'll give you a couple of minutes just to chime in quickly on this insecurity, the massacre in Benue, and then the conversation will carry on KJ's stream. You're muted. We can't hear you. No. No. I mean, anybody who's done lip reading can say you're smiling. No, we can hear you still. Somebody else should confirm it before he thinks.
Come on, forefather, you're wasting time.
Take off the headphone now.
Why don't we go to the next stream? We cannot hear you.
It's locked down. Okay, so it's gone to the next stream. I would like to thank everyone who's joined me, the panelists, the listeners, the people in the comment section. Thank you very much for joining. It's been an absolute pleasure. I just feel like I said, I think we owe the people of Benue this conversation and to send our solidarity to them and hope that things will get better for them. But hoping alone won't do it. The conversation we've had, I'm hoping that it would lead into actions, that would make their lives better. I'm beginning to sound like the National Security Advisor to Tinubu, No Ribadu. Things like that make me lose hope. When the person advising Tinubu on security matters was captured on camera begging Oyibo people, telling them, can you come and solve our insecurity problem? We want to live like normal human beings. This is the man that is advising to the board security matters. Anyway, special thanks to Tope, Lewechi, and Team Ajek for supporting with donations. I would tell Dr. Damages that I made money today on the show. Forefather, do you want to try one last time before we... Not today. I still can hear you. Anyway, on that note, since we cannot hear from Forefathers, I will post the link to join KJ and Forefathers on the next stream. It's been a pleasure being with you. I'll see you guys on Saturday. Take care and God bless.
The statement that I read earlier on attributed to the chairman of your party saying they're going to form a parallel government.
Yes.
What do you make of it?
Well, that is a position.
Do you see it as inciting?
I don't think so. I don't think it's inciting. Why is that inciting? There's nothing that incites about that. I don't think that will necessarily lead anyone to violence or lead anyone to do anything.
Forming a parallel government, that's not calling for anarchy.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
But it could be.
No, not necessarily. Look at cases. Look at cases. Let's look at political history. Look at cases where persons, where the government, for instance, has decided on where the government decides that they're going to ignore the wishes of the electorate and simply override the wishes of the electorate. What the opposition has usually done in such cases is to reject the results of the elections and to say that they will constitute their own government, that they will constitute a government. That is simply a way of taking a stand. It simply is taking a stand against the government and putting the government under pressure. That has happened in several places in Africa, several places in the world, where people have said, on account of electoral injustice, they are going to do certain things and all of that. And if they do so, so long as they do not call anyone to violence, all they're saying is that we are also going to constitute ourselves into a government. If you fail if you're unjust or if you ignore the wishes of the electorate. Personally, I don't think that that's necessarily inciting.
Because, I mean, the fabric of